God damn, Gary. Some serious gourmet shit. What flavor is this?
That's right, it's the all-hell medium roast private blend.
Check out the Geek Grind Coffee Nerdrotic page for our other options like the Decadent, Feathers of Liberty, vanilla-infused flavored coffee.
Or if you're looking for something darker, try the dark roast FNT blend of the Fellowship. You know what? Just buy all three. GeekGrindCoffee.com. Use discount code Nerdrotic. Huzzah!
So long, gay boys!
Now, what we've got here is a scrotum and nothing else.
You're a cunt.
The American Society of Magical Negroes.
Nerdrotic.com.
Could you not hear anything? Is that better?
I hear it.
Nobody else heard it because that was on mute.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Whoopsies.
Nobody heard it.
Boomer's got a boom.
Boomer's got a boom. Let's go. It's hump day. It is time for the Nerdrotic Nooner. And wow, a lot of craziness. Who had GamerGate 2 on their bingo card this year? I did not.
Nope.
I did not. I did not. But 2024 is going to be crazy, but I don't think it's going to be 2020 crazy. I think it'll be 2016 crazy. Does that make any sense? I think it'll be a little more fun. There'll be a little more memes flying around, a little less burning cities. I could be wrong, and I would, believe me, I'll be the first one to admit it if I am. But yeah, I said not as many, by the way. I didn't say there wouldn't be any burning cities. Just not as many. Might be something else. I don't know. But it's so far, it's been kind of funny. I think the year's been like not this total freaking disaster in a horrible, like, I want to give up and black pill way. It's a, oh, the tide is turning, and I'm getting a few laughs out of this as we go along, which I like.
I think what the tide has turned in the sense that people are fighting back and pointing out hypocrisy and pointing out, and also things have revealed themselves. And I think that people are just sick of it. I get, oh my God. I was at a screening of a movie a couple days ago, and a guy come up to me. This is happening more and more often for me in Los Angeles, which is weird. People coming up to me and just quietly saying, I really like what you're doing. And then a guy told me he is a below the line guy. And just to be clear, below the line are people that are not on camera. Gaffers, lighting guys, grips. They deal with electrical stuff.
The people who do real work.
People do the actual real work on a film
Yeah.
set and make the trains run on time. And he showed me a conversation he had with his agent via text. Basically, it's like, hey, I'm not supposed to ask you this, but I need to ask you this. Do you check any boxes? This is the exact quote. Do you check any boxes?
No.
And it was like, oh, and he just replied like, oh yeah, I'm queer / and then put some other sort of nebulous thing. And he's like, perfect, great, thank you. And just so he could get hired. Below the line, not like a actor, not a writer, not a director.
Oh, I
someone
yeah.
below the line.
I'm positive this is happening in like QC. If like, unless they're outsourcing all of it, I don't even know like how much QC is being done in Hollywood at all. There will be more than when I was doing it because QC was mostly for like Blu-ray and DVD. Now it's all for streaming, so there would be more. But they were trying to outsource it to India, so I don't know if that like actually happened. The first time they tried it, it failed miserably because there was just too much of a cultural divide between India and America as far as just talking to each other. And I've told this story before. I'll tell it again because it's funny. We took a cultural class at Technicolor.
What?
We took a cultural class at Technicolor so we could speak to our comrades over there in India who worked in Bangalore, right? So I was working for Technicolor, who was contracted out to Paramount and Disney and Warner Brothers, specifically HBO. And Technicolor was outsourcing their work to Bangalore, their QC work on DVDs and Blu-rays. Paramount specifically told them, do not do it. You cannot do it. It is in breach of contract if you outsource. I don't know about the other two companies, but I know Paramount was like, no. So we took this cultural class because it was just starting, and I was there as somebody who, it's a job, it's called it was a job that was made up for Paramount, by the way. It was just completely made up. They made up the job. And I was training my replacement when I just learned it. So I'm training my replacement when I just learned the job, and I have to take this cultural class. The cultural class consisted basically of one thing. People in India, and forgive me, anybody who's living in India right now, this is what Technicolor told me, the French company. People in India do not admit when they make a mistake. They do not admit when they're wrong. Ever. Like, ever. So you got to work your way around that. And I'm all, well, that's a little difficult because we're quality checking.
That's part of the thing.
We are checking the quality, and we need feedback, and we need to exchange ideas, and that's a mess up. And if they said they're just not going to take, and I'm like, really? And I have no idea. Like, I've never heard this before in my life. And I'm like, wow, that was really culturally sensitive of them to just say, you're going to have to deal with the fact that they won't admit that they made a mistake. I'm like, well, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a big problem.
When I was in the games industry in the 90s, I went to Japan on a trip to Shoshinkai, which is the Nintendo show. And I had a friend of mine that used to work there give me this whole, like, I mean, he had just printed it out, and it was like the culture things you need to know about Japan. And the couple things that were interesting that stood out is there's no tipping. They will not accept a tip because they perceive it as a bribe. So you don't tip anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, it was weird. The other thing was he said that like stealing is considered, like, if you like petty theft is considered a shame. There's no, people will leave bicycles on the streets of Japan unlocked because to steal would be, the only crime is like the Yakuza, and that's like the mafia there, right? And he said also avoid hanging around anyone with tattoos. And the weird thing is, the one word I remember from going over there was, like, if you're on a crowded subway or you're trying to get past somebody, they will not move. They will like actually just stay in place unless you say the word sumimasen, which is excuse me. So I said that word so often because you're trying to get around people, and they will get out of your way if you just say that word. It was weird. It's like a magic word. But I had a blast going to Japan. I really admired the culture, but yeah, it's nice to know like what those differences are. But that's weird in India. They like won't admit a mistake. That's
according to Technicolor, and like that was kind of my experience, but it wasn't as bad as they made it out to be. Like there was a way to work around it, but there was just the hardest thing was the nuance. Like they just didn't, I didn't understand their nuance. They didn't understand ours as far as language and stuff. And that made it like damn near impossible. So this, by the way, the job title, I was brain farting on it, was a pre-mastering technician. That's the made up title they made for like a jack of all trades who works right next to the vault and is the last light of I'm the final QC, and I did some menu work and I did some editing stuff and I did all kinds of shit. But I was pre-mastering technician. Right. And
Love it.
At Technicolor, you had to check in and get frisked when you went to the bathroom.
Really?
Because I was working next to the vault. These are all the masters of every like Thor. The Thor movie master was in our vault. Like I brought it to the vault. Right. So like when I went to go pee, I had to show my card and get a little pat down and stuff. But they never noticed my thumb drive that was shaped like a key on my keychain the whole time. Just walked in and out, had a thumb drive that they never noticed.
That's like some Mission Impossible shit. That's
weird. It was really weird.
That's cool.
It was cool to work there. It was fun. I was kind of working by myself. But funny thing is, somebody to finish that story, somebody was talking about Bangalore, India in an email and hit reply all, and it went to Paramount, and they found out. Fucking lost the contract. They fucking yeah. Dude,
that is bad.
It was crazy. It was back in 2011. No NDA applies that long, right? Okay.
No.
So yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. So we got GamerGate. Also, another thing we need Lady Greymaster to find extra girl for tell her is that basically political ad against Nelson Peltz. I think it's on the Disney site. It's fucking cringe. We got to go over that.
Did I see that they were buying votes for the board?
If you can, why wouldn't you? I mean, like that shouldn't be legal, but like that should, if you can buy votes for the board, then I am not a financial analyst. I wouldn't want anything to do with that company because it's all a fucking sham. Because guess what? Most stocks are fucking sham.
Yeah.
Okay. I just think they are. I'm sure that's horrible financial advice, but I've been kicked out of 3 high schools and I'm not a financial analyst. So don't listen to me. I collect key comic books as investments. Okay. And it's worked out for me so far.
Yeah.
So I'm property, actual property. But also, Bo DeMeo unceremoniously canned yesterday while we were live on Real BBC from X-Men 97 1 week. They say weeks. 1 week before it was due to release. He will not be on the red carpet. His social medias have been scrubbed. There's lots of speculation out there about an OnlyFans. I don't think that's it.
What is okay?
Did you not hear this yesterday?
Yeah, no, I only saw about half the Real BBC.
Yeah,
I was
it's all good.
doing a bunch of stuff, but
Shame on you.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I love the Real BBC. I'm just like, I'm hanging out with you guys, and I'll DM you during the show.
You will. You actually do.
If there's, I try to.
You're like a producer. You're like a hidden producer of the show. You're always
I like to help. I like to help.
Thanks,
By the way,
Chris.
they released a 13-second Crow teaser.
Okay,
the
we'll watch
trailer
that
drops tomorrow. It's 13 seconds. I'll find it.
And then they'll play the 13 seconds before the trailer. Like, here comes the trailer. Here's a trailer for the trailer. Here comes the trailer. Boom, boom. Trailer time.
That stuff is so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
It's they just realized people have TikTok attention spans now, which sucks.
Yeah, so they're gonna go watch a 2-hour movie.
Right.
What? But so we're gonna discuss all of that. According to Clownfish, the toys are already in clears. What for the X-Men 97? You know what? Guys, gals, go on eBay. Go on your favorite auction site and go get the old ones. They're not that expensive. You can go. You want to get a Wolverine on card, that might be the most expensive. But if you want to get an X-Men from the animated series, It's going to cost about as much as the new one and be better. Buy Toy Biz. It won't fall apart. And it's vintage, so it'll just look cooler. It'll look OG. That's what you do. That's what I got. I got X-Men shit all over the place. Unfortunately, all my comics are in storage, but I'm going to have to dig them out now. Because now I want to read the Dark Phoenix Saga, or the whole Phoenix Saga. Phoenix Saga, Dark Phoenix Saga. That's right.
Gary, do you ever read comics,
No.
digital comics ever?
Only when I absolutely have to, like on a plane or no restraints play, which I did buy a physical copy of. I had it. The Saska Sisters Black Widow is probably the last digital one I bought to read in prep for a show. But that's all of 5 that I've read in my entire life.
Yeah, I'm not
They're
a big
terrible.
fan. I don't mind the video teasers. It's like, that's cool. Gives you a taste of the comic, like a trailer for the comic. Those are like, that's kind of neat, but digital comics, my brain just doesn't work that way. And this is going to sound weird. I like the smell of comics.
There's nothing weird about that. I like the smell of books and comics. I think digital books make sense. I would rather do audiobook. I wouldn't read a book digitally, but it makes more sense than a comic book. It's a tactile experience. You have to touch it.
Right.
So, and it didn't work. Digital comics just didn't work. It's a minuscule percentage of all of the publishing revenue. It never took over. It never took off. I don't. How does tell me, manga fans do you buy digital manga? It seems like printing manga doing pretty well on the paper. The old school. Just anecdotally, from what I see when I walk into a Barnes and Noble or a comic shop now, and the comic shop's now a manga shop. So I'm guessing people just want to read it and hold it. I was
there's
told
something about it. And the other thing about like actual physical comics, not to you can give it to someone else to read and they can take it and give it back to you, or you can even sell it if you want to sell a used comic, or like a digital. It's just, there's something about it that it devalues the thing. That's why I think that vinyl has come back in a big way. People like physical media, and the fact that certain we've all heard about if you buy something on Amazon, you don't really own it forever, or some of these digital that is concerning to me, because I have a digital collection on Vudu of 600 movies. Now, a lot of that is because I bought the physical copy and it came with the digital code. So it's well, that's cool. It's a convenience thing, because if I'm at a buddy's house, it's I'll just bring up my collection. You can watch this movie. But the digital thing, we're getting screwed. We got sold a certain thing, and the fact that things are being censored after the fact, movies like The French,
Edited.
yes, or the Blazing Saddles, you can't watch without suffering through some lecture. They should just.
I'm at the point now where they're going to stop. There's artisanal physical media, but I broke out my burner. I've got a burner that can burn 4K. So I'm going to start burning I'm going to start making my own stuff. Screw it.
Ooh.
Screw it. Because you don't own any digital copy. You don't.
Yeah.
You download it, whatever. If it's part of that app, it can be ripped at any time. So you don't own any of those copies. And the thing is, digital makes everything disposable. It makes it less important, less of an event. And we've seen that through music, pretty much the destruction of the album. The destruction of the big band. Yes, Queen, Taylor Swift. But there's no freaking, there used to be 10 bands that could sell out stadiums. They were part of our culture. It's just not that relevant in our culture. It's background noise. Dude, music used to be our internet. These were our voices. This is what and it was bigger than film. It was bigger than fucking TV. It's bigger than anything. Yeah. And it's still there. It's just not as relevant. And all the bands they're trotting out are getting really fucking old. Hey, I'm excited. I'm going to go see the Scorpions in Vegas. They're fucking in their 70s, man. I wonder what backstage at a 70-year-old Scorpions show is like. It's probably ice packs, massages, taking a nap. I don't know.
They're drinking glucosamine drinks.
Yeah, glucosamine. I don't think there's piles of Coke anywhere, okay? The grandchildren are in there, you know. I think that's what it is. I mean, props on them for surviving. But yeah, I'm gonna go see the Scorpions. I'm excited. But
Love it.
no, that's what film is turning into. It's like it's gonna be around. It's not gonna be as relevant, which kills them. Absolutely kills them. And that's why you're not getting this influx of a lot of new talent, because there's a finite number of talented people on the planet. There just is. And they are going to go where they can get the most of their talent. It used to be, am I an actor? Am I a musician? Now it's going to be something else. Now it might be those same things, but it's like, I'm not going to go to Hollywood. I'll just do it on my own.
It was interesting. Robert Meyer Burnett, we've been doing this show on Mondays called Versus. I got to have you on one time if you're available. But it's R&B was on, and he was talking about how the art form of the 20th century was cinema, movies.
Yep.
The art form of the 21st century, which we are currently in, is video games. Far surpassed in terms of revenue, more culturally the zeitgeist with certain demographic, not ours necessarily.
Only thing I would disagree with Robert on is I think music was a little more important than cinema.
Yeah.
In the 20th century, especially the latter half, especially like go to the 50s on, music was more 50s to 2000, music was more important, like to culture, to younger culture, for sure.
I guess the thing that sort of irks me more than anything is the death of a counterculture. You know, I mean, we could talk about the death of shared experiences. I have a friend, April Wright, who makes these documentaries about like the movie palaces are gone. Drive-in movie theaters are a shell of what they used to be. Used to be 6,000 drive-in movie theaters. Now there's like 300 in the entire United States. And like it's what how she connects is this is the death of shared experiences. Things we would all go do together and we would gather and have these experiences, not on our phone, not on the internet. We would have these experiences in the real world. And it's just, it is disheartening to see, for me, the death of a counterculture. Like the fact that like, I will be targeted, and this happens to you a lot too, as like, you have these ideas I don't agree with. And I'm like, yeah, it's called counterculture. You know, it's question everything. It's like, I never trusted that the government is like trying to do what's good for us. You should always look at things that are being done with skepticism, and the fact that the journalists are not skeptical. That is pathetic. And to me, the whole counterculture, remember, like every city you'd go to, Gary, you'd have like the local rag, right? So you've got like, you know, the San Francisco Chronicle, you got the LA Times, and then there would be SF Weekly, LA Weekly, and they would have like freaking Life in Hell. That's how Matt Groening started, right? Remember the Life in Hell?
Yeah, and the San Diego Reader, read it all the time.
Yeah, San Diego Reader. Okay, that was it. The San Diego Reader with the LA Weekly, and then Detroit, we had the Metro Times, and they were always counterculture. They were always like standing up for the little guy. They were always like skeptical of politicians, hated politicians.
There was that book, Question Everything. Remember that book, Question Everything?
Yes.
It was always in the front at the Virgin Megastore at Borders or anything. I mean, that was it. You're absolutely right. No, the
counterculture, I think, is here with what we're doing.
Yeah, didn't go anywhere.
But it's just disheartening that it's not.
Well,
like, please, I want to
Chris,
hear your thoughts.
There is a saying in Hollywood, you probably have heard it. If you can't beat it, eat it. If you can't beat it, eat it. Sounds gross, but it's true. And that's what happened. Hollywood ate the counterculture, and now Hollywood is eating itself. So they just bought it. They basically bought it. They saw the counterculture, and they just act, you know, hey, we're on your side. We'll start some DEI. We'll start some protesting. We'll make some activist statements for our corporations. We're on your side. We're your friends. They fucking fell for it. They fucking fell for it. And now they're all lockstep. Companies aren't even competing against each other. You know, and that's not even at the heart of the free market. This is some weird Frankenstein God, oligarchy of corporatism. You know, that's what we're dealing with right now. And thankfully the audience is getting sick of it and moving away, and something else will happen. So you're right. the like fucking Republicans became counterculture.
Yeah.
Christians became counterculture. They did. It happened.
Family.
It flipped. Family
Yeah.
became counterculture. You're going to see kids without not a single tattoo. God bless them. You know, especially with the tattoos we're getting nowadays that look like, you know, just like somebody drew with a big pin on you. But there's no art at all. Sorry, they suck. Pete Davidson tattoos, fucking lame. God. Not enough drugs in the world will make me think those are okay. But yeah, it's starting to happen. It's starting to flip on its head, and it's interesting, and I like it. And then there's, you know, us old dogs who are just like, I didn't fucking change. Maybe that's not good, but I didn't change.
That's
You know?
the thing when I have people come after me that I've known for years, and my sense is they've met me and we've hung out like friends in this space, right? But they never ever read anything I wrote, never watched any video, never watched when I was on television. So they never paid attention. They're just like I'm a guy that they knew. And they're like, I can't believe how much you've changed. Like, you didn't know me then, because I am no different than what I was in the 90s or even the 80s when I was doing Film Threat, which was a counterculture thing and still is, you know? So I don't know, man.
So that's what these gates are. You know, for one, the gates come from Watergate. I think most people know that.
Right. Yeah.
And GamerGate was kind of the first like culture. I can't say culture war because I will say the first shot in the culture war against a cultural revolution, a collectivist cultural revolution. Razorfist is way better than I am on this stuff. Go watch his stuff on that stuff. But that's basically what it is. And it started out with, you know, Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian and, you know, basically screwing journalists for a good review, little sexual payola. But it turned into something bigger. It turned into, wow, these were like really fun spaces where we didn't care who was here as far as gaming. And this goes for any nerd space. We might test you a little bit, you know, but you're always welcome. And we want to hang out with you. But it turned into a bunch of activists coming and going, you need to change. So difference between newbie, no problem with a new fan who's like comes in curious going, man, this stuff looks awesome. Please tell me about it. And then you'll have 1,000 people sharing their favorite thing. And it's a wonderful thing. Then you have the fucktards who come in and go, this is all wrong. We're going to change it. You know what? Go fuck yourself. No, we don't want you in. We don't want you anywhere near. You don't sound fun at all. Okay. Including.
Speaking of fun, X-Ray Girl's gone. She's
gone.
The queen of fun.
It's her
She's
Canadian,
of
her
fun.
Canadian internet decided to take up some Canadian healthcare.
Trudeau found me. I'm sorry.
But no, the activists are no fun. They're fucking no fun. Nobody wants them around. They ruin everything. They're a bunch of angry people with fucking personal issues that, like, honestly, nobody wants to be around. And thankfully, people are starting to figure that out because their arrogant asses decided to go on like streams a year ago, 6 months ago, and freely talk about their not so secret agenda and admit to, like, I don't know, we'll pull up the clip later, not hiring white people, which is, I believe, discriminatory and against the law, you know? And what people don't realize, and I don't know the exact law because I only half remember it from a few years ago, California changed the laws so they could introduce DEI. So you would say this stuff's against the law. Well, maybe not necessarily in California. I can't remember exactly what they changed, but they definitely tried. And I can't see them not succeeding. They've succeeded with so much, you know, but they've definitely tried. So, and a lot of this stuff is based in California, so they can get away with it. And they have, because there's no judge now. You know, this is how the activists win. Because they either take something over or destroy it. Either way is a win for them. That they are completely happy. So you introduce DEI into a free market society, you absolutely undermine it. You fill your political, your judges who are supposed to be impartial, who are political hacks now, and just side on whatever side political they are on, and you undermine the entire system, and you undermine confidence in it. You undermine confidence in voting. Guess what? Activists win. Activists win.
I just voted last week. I don't miss an election, a midterm or whatever, just because it's the proposals in California, the state of California, which are always some grift or let's start a new program. It'll only cost X billion of dollars, and it's supposed. There was something on the ballot about.
Yeah, they'll come out with something called protecting children, and it's actually like lowering the age of consent to 9 or something like that. So
I read all of those.
It's a joke, but it's funny because it's probably going to be true someday. So fight that shit, tooth and nail.
It's sad to hear you say it, but I think you're right. I think you're right, man. It sucks.
No, it's all the opposite of what it sounds like. Border and security law means let's open the floodgates and let everybody in. Let's go send some boats to Haiti right now.
Look, don't call them illegals because that would be insensitive.
Hey, people should be asking Bill Maher and Susan Sarandon if when's their next vacation to Haiti, by the way. Because they came out with Haiti is already great because I think Donald Trump said it was a shithole 5 years ago or something like that.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
So, it is real disappointing. Bill Maher is a real disappointment in the sense that I always thought he was counterculture. I didn't see him as left or right. I saw him as common sense. I watched him since the 90s and watch his show. He is so out of touch, and it really has come out in that Club Random because he gets some really good guests, and so I'll watch some of those shows on YouTube. He is so colossally out of touch. It's like does he just live on a compound in Beverly Hills? He has a driver so he doesn't drive. Look, I've driven by those houses, right? If I go through those neighborhoods.
Oh, he has a fucking huge house.
He is so out of touch. I mean, he was complaining how he couldn't get like the permits to be able to put solar on his house or do some sort of thing.
I remember that.
And like, yeah, that should tell you something. The fact that he hasn't woke up, the scariest thing was when PBD was on there, Patrick Bet-David, talking about Newsom. And Patrick Bet-David did the best thing ever. He was just like, oh, so what? Okay. He just let him talk. He let Bill Maher talk. And it was pathetic. And then who else was on who also schooled him about some
Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr had to tell him what the WEF was. Bill Maher didn't know what the WEF was.
He just seems
that should disqualify. I mean, you shouldn't even be on a show. Well, it also shows he's got, I say 21. It's an over exaggeration. He has 11 writers. 11.
I feel like the only thing he knows is what filters through his writers. And then he already has all these assumptions about the good guys and the bad guys. That thing with Robert De Niro that happened recently.
Oh, I loved it. This is great about free speech. I loved it because Robert De Niro looked like a retard. He is an adult pretender. He is an empty-headed fucking moron who can't say shit unless somebody writes the fucking words for him. Like, great actor. He's in some of my favorite movies. Complete fucking moron. Like, but functionally retarded. Okay, functionally retarded, room temperature IQ.
But that thing was the dumbest conversation because it was Robert De Niro talking about he would never play Trump in a movie because he doesn't see any good in him. Do you realize, tick off the list of the types of characters
I know.
played?
That's why he's
it's like murderers, killers, horrible human being, like every single
Cape Fear. So that character has more redeeming qualities than Trump, Robert De Niro.
It's the weird thing, like Trump also
come out wherever you are.
Yeah, just like, so you look at all of his roles, he gravitates towards evil men. And, his perception of Trump is based on only what he sees through a certain lens, right? We all know that because I have friends like that just don't, whatever happened to question everything being that was to the default setting for at least most of my friends. And, just the world really changed. It's weird. Hey, we should talk about comics and movies and TV at some point.
Well, we're talking about Robert. I mean, if you want to find that clip, like later on, he gets called. He can't answer a fucking question straight when he gets called out. What did he get called out on again, Chris, towards the end where he's like, he just refused to answer it?
I forgot. What was it? I just saw that.
Chat, maybe you know.
Chat, help us, chat.
Help us, chat.
Oh,
need
crime
you,
in New
Chad.
York. It was crime in New York. He was asked specifically about crime in New York, and he just wouldn't admit there was crime in New York. He's all, it's not that bad, and you know, and he didn't know that the National Guard had been deployed in New York subways. Okay, so all the things that Trump was accused of, and all these Republican governors are accused of, they are fucking that. Okay, here's how you. It's called problem, reaction, solution. It happens in entertainment. It happens in conspiracies. It happens in the real world. You stop arresting criminals and you let them out of jail. Crime goes up. You you defund police. Crime goes up even more. People cry out for a savior. The state comes in and saves you with the National Guard. Like, do you not see what's fucking happening? That's exactly what they're trying to do. Okay? And that's why I left California. You can't protect yourself in California. If somebody came and like hurt one of my kids or something like that, and I blew that guy's brains out, I'd go to jail protecting my kid. Or even hurt the guy protecting my kid. I'd go to jail. I almost went to jail for protecting my customers from a psycho in my shop.
Ugh.
So, and if it wasn't for the cool cop who kind of like coached me through my responses, which he wasn't supposed to do,
Right.
I would have. So yeah, sorry to get real, but that like we talk about it in pop culture, and they're undermining every aspect of it. You know, I was on Piers Morgan a couple days ago. It was awesome. He had a guest on. You have to watch his guest on before if you want to hear some psych. This is where it's political ideology fundamentalism, when you just refuse to see what's real. Like, I just want the truth. Okay, that's all I want. Like it or not, I want the truth. So Piers was who's not the bastion of counterculture, the current counterculture. I wouldn't call Piers based, but he was fighting back on the guy saying, "Oh, there's no such thing as the culture war. It's just made up by the Republicans."
Oh
are you fucking kidding me? And then the left, this guy's hardcore on the left, says, all you guys are talking about is Snow White and Hollywood and stuff that doesn't matter when there's children starving and there's wars. It's like, well, for one, who's starting the wars and who's starving all the fucking children? But it does matter, and the left understands that. That's where this guy is like completely disingenuous. The left completely understands how important art is to culture, and that's why they've owned it for so long. And it was good to see Piers fighting back, but I was listening to that guy. I almost had an aneurysm before we went on and just talked about the Oscars. I was like, listen to this guy going, what the fuck? We might have to go over that at some point, because I think it is the mentality we're fighting. They know it exists. This dude knows it exists, but he's just going to deny it now. That's going to be their new narrative. There's no culture war.
This is what bothers me, is those types of people who are unwilling to debate or have a conversation. By the way, I pitched a bunch of panels to WonderCon.
Oh, and
in Anaheim, rejected all of them. Every single one.
And you would have brought people to WonderCon, and it would have been fun. WonderCon is, yeah. Our mutual friend asked me if I was going. I was like, I can't even be bothered.
So I don't know. I think that does not bode well for me for San Diego Comic-Con. Thankfully, Alan is getting me a press badge. I think I'll go down for one day just to hang. But it's disheartening. I always love the exchange of ideas, including things I disagree with, because I want to hear what that argument is. Or, and you know what? I don't care if I sway you or not, but like this sort of like, just everything being exposed. We can discuss it like adults. And I kind of feel like people on that side don't want to even have the discussion.
Nope, because to them, the politics is settled.
Yeah.
It's settled. They're right. We're wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a problem. So we got to fight back at that. And then, when Sweet Baby Inc., which is, again, just a symptom of a much greater problem, shuts down and tries to shut people down. They used to have power back in 2016. They have no power now because just fans started speaking their mind. They just turned on a microphone, got their internet connection, had their microphone, turned on their camera, and spoke their mind. And there's thousands of us now, and there needs to be thousands more of just regular fans going, no, this used to be a really fun space until, I'll use your language, space, until the fucking activists came here and fucked everything up. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's pretty much where it's at and where it's going to stay at, and it's blowing up. At Comic-Con, you could walk through WonderCon. They have all their DEI panels. By the way, they've been labeled whatever, diversity panels. They've been there forever, 10 years, longer. You walk by, there's 5 people in a panel. Chris does a panel. It'll be full.
Yeah.
It'll be full. And it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like there's more of an open conversation, when you have like different ideas that are different, even types of people that have different ideas. They can just talk amongst each other. I don't know. I don't know where it went. A lot of it has to do with the people who do the programming, I think. And some
of them are really cool, but some of them, but they're lost with the woke mind virus is almost terminal. It's almost terminal for anything that's fun.
Unfortunately, I would have to agree. It's kind of sad. It's sad to see it go that way.
It's fear-based too.
Yeah,
like people actually fear it.
Well, yeah. Imagine going to a panel where you're talking about diversity and inclusion, and it's just a bunch of people on fucking walking on eggshells, telling other people not to offend people while trying to be not offensive to each other, knowing that each person they sit next to has a fucking knife out ready to just put in their back or their front, whatever. Instead, you have a Chris panel where we'll tell jokes and not give a shit because I know the people I'm with are cool and people are laughing and having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
There's your difference. You're right. It's fear-based, but it's not just, it's fear of the ideology and fear of their ally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sucks. It just sucks. We're in this place where, look, I've had conversations with Dante in public where he and I are like, kind of whispering some of the things we're saying to each other because we're out in public. We don't know who might like walk by and overhear us talking about some effed up thing or we think is kind of effed up. And then someone hearing it saying, so it's just weird that like that. So it's weird because when we'll carpool with each other to like a movie, we do that every week. And our we just go nuts in the car. Like we should probably record it at some point.
You should. Car conversations with Chris. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Better than James Corden singing.
And then we get out in public and then we're like, we kind of have to curb our speech. It's weird. Like it's weird and it's sad that it's that way, but it is that way.
Dude. So I'm gonna be on Unsubscribe podcast, Donut Operator, and Brandon Herrera. Vote for Brandon Herrera in Texas, by the way. He's in a runoff. A YouTuber's in a runoff with some rhino, which is the AK guy on Twitter. Follow him on and Eli from. So we're having breakfast because they all kind of live near me. So we're having breakfast, and we were talking about like, hey, what we've gotten away with on live streams, including Gab McGinnis whipping out his little pee-pee or dropping a
paging Dr. Buckets.
So, but we're using the real word like in the restaurant, and like we didn't care. A bunch of people turned around. We just dropped that hard F. We just kept talking. I didn't give a shit. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm not gonna whisper anymore. If somebody gets offended, too bad. Too bad.
This is why I love dive bars, because dive bars have a certain demographic.
Yes.
Well, mostly drunks, but like where I go, it's just like nobody cares, and people are based and blue collar to a point, and just like I don't know, I just love it, man. I love it. That's why I love the dive bars.
That bar you go to is even though it's filled, it's filled with a bunch of nasty, filthy Dodger shit in there.
Right, that's true. It's
it's still a good bar.
It's a lot
for hanging
fun.
out. There's a pool table, There's needs to get at least sugar-free Red Bull because I can't, like, Monsters is like,
right.
God, I'd rather drink petrol.
Shout out to the bartenders there, Mercedes, Charisse.
Not going to be getting a Monster sponsorship or a Red Bull one. So Red Bull's not great for you either, but whatever.
Right.
GG subs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're going to be. That's a sponsor, right?
Who's a sponsor?
GG subs.
GG subs. That's like
Cheesy
Yeah.
stuff.
they're gonna sponsor me for my gaming streams when I eventually get around to it. So
It's gamer
Ooh.
water.
yeah,
I might be able to find an when did my award show in December. We do that every
hail
year.
GG subs.
We got a sponsor. Liquid Death is a sponsor.
Oh yeah, the water, right? It's
They're
just
just
water.
water.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
I didn't realize they have like, carbonated, uncarbonated, just
Yeah.
flat, right?
Bubbly
And then
water.
they've got flavored waters, I didn't realize this.
Ugh.
They came with a ton of cases. I had to give it away
That's
at
cool.
the end, which was great. I still have some, but I love the can because it looks like, oh my God, look what that guy's drinking. It's
It's just water.
water.
No, it's good branding. You got to have good branding, good packaging. Am I right, ladies? All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna put
All
this
right.
up in front of me.
Yeah.
Boobs.
There you go. GG subs. Yeah, we
Or
got a whole
G-subs.
commercial planned showing
sweet.
off my gaming skills. It's going to be pretty hopefully it's funny. It's funny in my head.
Ooh.
I don't know, be funny in execution. If Perry does it, it will be.
I
By the
love
way,
all
shout
the
out to Perry
stickers.
for his Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z. Somebody sent me a Dragon Ball book, which I'm going to probably read. But the creator died, and he did this tribute before FNT, and it was like, I know nothing about it, and it was heartfelt. It was so good. It was so good. We got hit with a copyright claim. Don't care. Keeping it up for because he worked so hard on it. So well done, Perry. All right, so do you want to find Libs of TikTok tweeted this out? It's been seen by like 4 million people. I'm sure you've all seen it, but we're going to cover more. A woman who was hired to do a Black Panther game.
What?
Yeah. Saying that she doesn't hire white people.
That's racist.
So this is
I-
this is where things are blowing up, right? Culture war wise, John Stossel tweeted out a video of Eric July talking about the Oscars. Elon retweets it, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy, the other Jeremy from the Quartering, is talking to, I'm forgetting his name. Is it Grums on Twitter? Sorry. Who's been exposing all the Sweet Baby Inc. shit forever. And Elon signal boosts that, right? And then Libs of TikTok is now in, and that's being signal boosted by Elon. And there's your difference. Like, old Twitter would not have done this. This would have been suppressed, banned completely. So this is where the tide is turning, just with one social media platform going off the reservation. A bit. Not completely, by the way. Just a bit. Just a bit. By the way, these companies are in competition with each other. They should all be on the opposite ends, So
Right.
I think it's important to go over this. Did you find it yet?
I have the video from Libs of TikTok.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Drinker responded to it. I responded to it. Everybody we know has responded to it.
All right. So this
I mean,
is
So again, yeah. Go on,
Can,
Chris.
can I just say real quick before we play it, in a world that is professional, this person should be fired.
Immediately.
This person should be straight up fired.
Look at that smile on her face too. She's happy.
And it is the thing that is to me. How do you know if something's racist? Well, let me just say this.
Well,
If it's just real quick, it showing up on time at work is not racist. Crosswalk signals are not racist. The stupid, whenever they're trying to write, you can literally look up it's like a what were those things where you would fill in the blanks? It's
Mad
you know what I'm
Libs.
talking- Mad Libs, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a Mad Libs. You could just put in anything and make it racist. To me, it's like if you replace the race with another ethnicity, race, whatever, and it sounds racist, it is racist. And I love that, like, in one of the things from the Sweet Baby, this journalist, they added context like, yes, you can be racist against white people.
Oh yeah, it got community noted. So
It got community
Yeah.
noted. Good, because this is leading to a bad place. There is, they always talk about real violence in the world. There is real violence happening in the world because of these attitudes have taken root. These bad ideas, these terrible attitudes have taken root, and it's justification for being cruel to others. And it is, I can't believe this person will remain employed, and no one should buy this game. The marketplace will decide. First of all, I don't think the game's going to be very good. I don't expect this game to be very good at all anyways. But secondly,
which Black Panther? That would be my very first question.
Yeah.
Is it T'Challa?
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think it's going to be good either. No, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Anyways, sorry to like pontificate there.
No. You need to pontificate. That is why we have you here. Your knowledge. No, and like, who knows when and if this game is coming out? I didn't know. I know there's a Blade game coming out, Black Panther game. This could have been. This probably was in development since the first movie came out. That's how long these games take. And this is why these AAA gamers, if they have brains, which I don't believe they do, need to back out of this shit now, because nobody's going to notice for 3 years minimum. Like we talked about this with Az yesterday, you know, because sometimes games, and he would know more than I would, and you would too, X-Ray Girl, they take anywhere from 5 to 10 years to make, you know? So it's not like a movie. This is a lot of money, a lot of people working for it to flop, and that's not sustainable, no matter how popular this industry is, because more nimble companies are going to start coming in and taking over, you know? And hope they do. Hope they fucking do. So let's hear this very happy young lady talk about her racism.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted
to create a safe
environment.
Because you're
racist.
racist.
The best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me.
Because
you're
racist.
Saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments.
Yes, you are, because you're racist.
That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying
that goes against what you were saying, you racist.
That's more
there's so much of a flawed logic to a lot of this stuff. I feel like these people don't hear themselves. They just don't hear it. By the way, I was watching.
Dumb people are put in charge of things because of their skin color and their identity. And they're dumb. They're uneducated, dumb. Sure, they went to school, they got a piece of paper, and they're dumb. And that goes all across the board. That could be white people too. As a matter of fact, it's a lot of woke white women. But who go to these fucking dumbass art schools, get robbed of $100,000 to get a piece of paper that's fucking worthless after their brain is rot by some bitter professor who likes to have a power trip over fucking 20-year-old kids. Am I wrong?
No. It's interesting. I was watching Side Scrollers before I sat in this chair to do the show. It's Side Scrollers gaming show. Shout out to the whole team there. They're amazing. Craig has been on your show, right? Like, he's been on FNT.
Yeah.
What am I saying? Sorry about that. Anyways,
Craig's going to be in Vegas.
They were watching a video of this person being interviewed by and it was like Blacks in Gaming or something. It was really weird, but it was like they were interviewing her about her game Validate, which is a video game, which is a romantic. She said she loves romantic comedies. She did a romantic video game about dating, but it was all only a certain type of Black people, which is like they were all overweight and had like piercings. It was weird. It was like she just kind of put herself in the game, I guess. It was but it was on Side Scrollers. You could probably get the link, but she's done a lot of interviews. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the little morsel that can be shared on social media for this, but I really think the marketplace is going to decide at the end of the day.
Well, that's what we've been fighting, Chris, because you're right. Yeah. The marketplace ultimately decides. The customer ultimately always wins. Always wins. But what the corporatism has brought in is it fights against, for the first time ever since 2016, the corporatism has fought against the marketplace. And instead of reacting to your customers and their needs, you're telling them what they need and you're forcing stuff on them and they're just roundly rejecting it. And then the corporations just want to start a fight because they invited this activist cancer in the door and they can't get rid of it. Good fucking luck getting rid of people like her. Like you said, Chris, tip of the iceberg. If they're saying this shit out loud on streams, what the fuck are they saying behind closed doors? Holy shit.
Yeah.
And everybody's scared. Everybody in the industry is flat out scared because a woman like this will run out and call you a fucking racist. It's pure projection. As our good friend Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers says, those who preach the most have the most to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Good God. But I'm glad it's getting sick. Oh, sorry. Continue it.
Oh. I didn't want
let's
to
hear it.
interrupt.
To work with white people because they think that something made okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while you're trying to make it.
Nobody wants to deal with you. Nobody wants to deal with you. You're the kind of person we have to walk on eggshells around because you're so easily offended because all of your deep-seated personal problems, whatever the fuck they are. Nobody wants to deal with you. Good luck with your company and your grift, by the way. Jesus Christ, Chris.
It's just sad to see because I felt like when we got to the 90s, this wasn't even a conversation, right? This wasn't these types of conversations.
These
now
people were around, but they were always considered fringe fucking weirdos. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it. But, and this is among the weirdos. Among the nerds and the weirdos, we thought they were fringe psychotic weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
And they still are, by the way. Just to point out that they're still fringe weirdos who are freaking retarded. But as dumber as society gets, we're ruled by cowards. Some of our leaders are cowards, but we're also ruled by the people who will not fight against this and not stand up to it. Oh, I don't want to make waves. I don't want to rock the boat. Well, that boat's fucking rocking.
But this is what Vivek Ramaswamy's book is about, Woke Inc., is he goes into that like the corporations like this because what they get is they get their cake and they can eat it too, which is basically they can do all the horrible stuff that they do anyways. And they get away with it because they look virtuous, publicly speaking. That's what Elon was talking about when he said, appearances are everything in Hollywood. The appearance of doing good, the appearance, like, what we look like. That's what people care about in entertainment. I mean, this is across a lot of industries. So it's like, this is how you look good, but really what you're doing is behind the scenes, you're doing effed up stuff. Vivek has a lot of specific examples in there, really interesting. He talks about this company he almost worked for and just how horrible it was and how blatant behind closed doors they would just talk about all this stuff. So I don't even think it's a lack of leadership. This is on purpose. This is all on purpose.
Yes, it's on purpose, and they take advantage of cowards. They take advantage of risk aversion and incompetence.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's it. It all plays into it. They need incompetent. They need their useful idiots. Yeah. They are. That was going to be one of the questions asked of us that wasn't on Piers Morgan. Was the specific question was is I'm Just Ken? Did Ryan Gosling own it, or is he just another Hollywood useful idiot? So I would have answered yes. Ryan Gosling owned it. I'm Just Ken. That was probably one of the better things that happened in the Oscars. But everyone in Hollywood is a useful idiot. Every single mofo. Now, I want to show you a Community Notes win.
Yes.
Everybody.
Does this tie into the Piersies?
No.
I love the Piersies.
The Piersies? Sure.
That was on the show. Sorry.
It needs to be said, Sydney Sweeney's boobs are not that big. Community Notes. Yes, they are. And it's not about the size all the time. I think they're perfect.
You said.
Perfect tits. Okay.
Yes, it's
perfect tits. They aren't
yes.
ginormous. No, they're just perfect. And guys are a better judge of boobs.
I'll just say this. I'll take any kind of boob. IBTC, the itty bitty. I mean, you can finish that statement. But I'm just saying,
titty committee.
I'll say it.
IBTC. You never heard of that? Anyway,
of course I have.
Of all types and shapes, proportion is important.
Proportion is important, but we can appreciate all of it because we're dudes.
All of it. I don't think it's like saying bad pizza.
Right?
Like there's no pizza's pizza. I
Pizza's
love
pizza.
I ate in junior
pineapple,
high. It was terrible, but I
jalapeno on
love-
pizza. It's freaking
love-
great. It's like Sydney Sweeney's bazoombas.
They're like the
Fun
her
pillows.
pineapples. They're her pineapples.
What did somebody call them on Twitter? The calcium cannons.
Excuse me.
Calcium cannons. Oh, I love it. Oh, by the way, I don't mean to. I am seeing Sydney Sweeney this Friday. It's at the Egyptian Theater. There's an American Cinematheque screening of her new movie Immaculate, which apparently she worked really hard to get made. And it's
How
a
hard,
horror
Chris?
film. Yeah, really hard. But she's going to be there for a Q&A, and I think I'll be filming it. And
Attaboy.
Hey.
Hey, she's
Filming it for my
riding the
members.
wave of popularity. She has great assets, and we appreciate Sydney Sweeney. We do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
can't wait to see it.
And all these people like, oh my God, what's so great about Sydney? Fuck off. Okay, just go. She's a mid. Stop. Just stop. Now, I did see Anyone But You, Chris. I've already talked about it on previous
It
streams.
was fine, right?
It was
It's
fine.
Okay.
It was fine.
Yeah. Oh,
The only thing, I'm talking about the lesbian destination wedding that I found to be just complete fantasy. Okay.
where they were just like they were so nurturing. They
It
were
was
so
such the
righteous.
DEI couple. Like, we're going to put a racially mixed lesbian couple who just completely get along throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
It was so generic and what? It was,
that was the worst part of it. But
Yeah.
I loved her and the chemistry she had with I always forget that actor's name. Glenn something.
Probably
Good
should
looking guy.
the guy who should play Green Lantern.
I love that's a great casting.
Yeah, he should play Green Lantern. He should play Hal Jordan because he looks like Hal Jordan.
He's kind of a smart ass too, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, like dial that down a little bit because Hal Jordan's not that much of a smartass. But
Right.
Yeah.
But I actually met him at some awards event or whatever. Charismatic as hell. Super nice guy. Took pictures with everybody. Was just like you can tell he's the type of person that just appreciates like, oh my God, I get to do this thing where that's kind of weird when you think about it. And I get to make money doing it. This is awesome. Also,
Yeah.
he kind of won the gene pool lottery too.
that helps, but at least be grateful if the actors were great. If Robert De Niro would shut the fuck, like he just needs an agent to go, Robert doesn't do interviews because he likes to keep he likes you to recognize the character and not the actor, which is what Harrison Ford's agent used to do because Harrison Ford did not give a lot of interviews back in the day. And that's a smart agent. That's a fucking smart agent. Agents don't do that anymore. Agents are political. Agents are pieces of shit. Hey, Gina got hired to a new agency that's got some credibility for hiring her.
Really?
Remember, she was dropped by her agency immediately after Disney went out and besmirched her career on purpose and should be sued to oblivion for, by the way. Hail Gina Carano. It's really this version of GamerGate much better than previous version. The reason this version is better is because we have a couple of veterans out there, including our friend Carl. And we have a lot of channels that in our sphere and people and audience members in our sphere who've seen the evolution because it started with GamerGate and this evolution is it's what we're doing now. It's part of the culture war. It's calling this shit out. That's it. People come and go, channels come and go, but a lot of the channels that were driving GamerGate back in the day ended up being like giant frauds. It's a bummer, but that's how it ended. But it did evolve and the audience stuck with it. That's the most important part. And we have I think a much better, more powerful version because the allure of power that the Access Media had and the gaming journalists had before is now gone. Is now completely gone. Jeremy from the Quartering still around too, by the way. And it's I think this is a snowball effect that I think is going to be huge this year. Absolutely huge and glorious to watch because there will be another Sweet Baby Inc. There will be another Last of Us 2 that comes out at some point. Another game, another Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Something else will come out to expose it. That Sweet Baby Inc. That account on Steam that is pretty much an aggregate to show you what what games Sweet Baby Inc. is involved with, I think is great. I think it was just a simple thing to do. A simple thing to do to point it out. And we should start pointing out in all facets now. And remember, most of it is already within the companies. The companies do that. They don't need Sweet Baby Inc. It's the corporation that's doing this.
Here's what's different is, and great appearance, you and Drinker on Piers. That was awesome. Frankly, because I've been listening to you for years, didn't hear anything new. You guys, it's like, oh, I've heard all this stuff before, but here's the difference. It's going out to a mainstream broad audience. That's what's different. And the fact that it's bubbled mainstream is so huge. So we know all this stuff, and it's like, you were on the Oscars watch party, and I think we all kind of half watched the Oscars. I had to rewatch it the next day to just remind myself, like right when we got done with the stream, I just started watching it from the beginning.
I had to rewatch stuff, and I had a bunch on mute because it was just boring.
Right.
It was mostly just
boring. It was boring. But the one thing that was really interesting, I met with a buddy of mine. We were talking, and he said, that DEI stuff from you played the video in one of your latest videos, the thing I messaged you about it, which was the AI it's called spell check for bias.
Yeah.
This friend of mine pointed it out to me. He goes, do you know that was announced at the Oscars last year?
Yes.
And I'm thinking I don't remember because I didn't drink this year. I did drink. On the
it was, and it was predating the Oscar rules, I believe.
Yes.
And again, that's been around forever. Gina Davis, the script checking thing's been around for years, absolute years. And you provided me with that video for my last video on this, and it was perfect. It explained it perfectly. It's like, thank you. I don't even need to comment on this. Right. I'll just show it to you without comment. And it's unbelievable shit. And yeah, dude, it's good that they're open about it. They're going to be a lot less open about it now because they got caught with their fucking pants down, and the tide has turned. This is where we're past peak woke Hollywood. We're past peak woke Hollywood. We are. Hollywood doesn't know it yet, but we are. The people who actually pay for shit. The audience. We're done with it. We're fucking done. It'll I'd say there's so many things that's happened that we could go, man, that was peak woke Hollywood. Like fucking Cleopatra, peak woke Hollywood. She-Hulk, peak woke Hollywood. The Marvels, peak woke Hollywood. But I think this week we really get it because they thought there was a market for a movie called hang on. I should have my clip ready. Cue Eric.
Oh, did you?
The American Society of Magical Negroes.
I'm gonna wear my chain.
It's something. It's there. You go. This is a movie that could have absolutely worked. If there's a Key and Peele skit that's pretty fucking funny on this very subject that they just could have made a movie out of.
It's so funny.
End of story.
That Key and Peele sketch is so hilarious because it's two quote magical Negroes from the movies that get into this wizard battle.
Into a magical Negro fight, which is so funny. It's so good
because it makes fun of the idea, which is worth making fun of, but it's funny. That's the better way to do.
Well, you could have made it a Blazing Saddles style comedy on tropes and just hit every trope while you're at it, and it would be fucking hilarious. It would be so funny.
Great. But this is a serious movie where I guess the white people are the villains. I'll say this: it is.
You guess?
No one is going to see the film. Yeah.
Except for us.
No one is going to see I talked to a friend last night who saw it. He says it's terrible.
Oh yeah, one early review snuck out because there's an embargo, but one early review snuck out 2 months ago and said it was fucking awful. So
it's awful. By the way, this person was not white, and they said they thought it was terrible. Terrible film.
Terrible film. Did you find that video, the Disney political one?
Yes, I did.
Can we put that up because then that'll lead into our Marvel discussion.
Okay.
See, we got a pro producer here, ladies and gentlemen. She
Try my best.
She does math. She does math, not math. Okay.
Oh,
math.
Yeah. I don't even know how one does meth, but
Oh shit.
Well, there's a lot of ways to do it.
Oh my god.
They're all bad.
Oh my god.
Bad. What?
No, just some breaking news.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. We need
put it
to
in the
like
private chat. This ties into what we've been talking about. Holy shit. This is tragic. I just put in the private chat. Someone sent it to
Oh
me.
no.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Did you see it, Gary? Yeah.
No.
Oh my God. Yeah. This sucks.
Oh, hopefully she'd be okay. We love Olivia Munn. We do.
Love her.
Yep. And that sucks, but hopefully they catch it soon enough.
She's so young too.
And we
right?
want-
she's in
Yeah.
her
And she's a mom.
43
Yeah, she's
years
43.
Old. Wow.
And
43.
Smoking.
Yeah.
Her Instagram is like her with her kid. She keeps her life with John Mulaney, her partner.
Who was
private.
funny. That's the guy who was actually funny at the Oscars.
By the way, you want to see even more funny? Look it up, Gary. Worth it. Totally worth it. John Mulaney hosted the governor's ball and he gives this speech. He roasts the industry. I'm sitting here watching. The governor's ball is on the official Oscars YouTube channel and John Mulaney hosted it. And
he was better than Kimmel, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was all nearly as good as a Ricky Gervais, but he was roasting the industry. He roasted himself. He talked about how stupid a lot of things the industry are.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, like, why can't they? So John Mulaney, look it up. Governor's Ball, John Mulaney. He hosted
Look it up.
That's-
Okay. Munn says
I'll
her
find it
cancer
for you.
was aggressive and fast moving, but was caught with enough time. I had options. Okay, good. That's
Oh,
good.
That's good.
So prayers out to Olivia Munn.
Yeah.
As long as it didn't
All right.
spread.
Yeah.
Now
Sorry to derail there.
No,
Gary.
it's all good. It's all good. That's
Okay.
that's a former coworker of yours and Bud. Come on.
I know.
Jesus.
Mhm.
Hey, pull that video back up. The chat. What did your dog say? Ruff.
I think there's a delivery person.
Ruff. Okay.
Oh, is there a delivery person for you?
Oh no, my dad's here.
Alan Ing's there?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He came to
supposed do
visit.
what is he doing there?
What's up?
It's a surprise visit. Anyways,
What's up, Pops?
to the video.
To the video.
What's the harm of letting activist investor Nelson Peltz or Jay
Wait.
Rasulo have a seat
Pause it
on
for a second.
Disney's
Pause it.
board?
I should do a little setup just in case people don't know. This is from the Disney website, correct? X-Ray Girl? Or X-Ray Girl's dog? I'll take an answer from either. Dog says yes. Dog says yes. Dog said rough. This is a Disney political ad to their shareholders. Okay. So just want to like, this isn't some like rando thing. This is produced by Disney. So if we start it over.
What's the harm of letting activist investor Nelson Peltz or Jay Rasulo have a seat on Disney's board? The answer is simple. If they succeed, Disney could suffer the same fate as other great companies.
Oh, it looks
that
like the
Peltz
South
has
Park.
previously infiltrated,
Wait,
such as
stop.
GE
Pause. That looked like the South Park thing with Bob Iger going, what happened to my stock? Oh, no. That did. Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
All right, hit play.
Disney could suffer the same fate as other great companies that Peltz has previously infiltrated, such as GE and DuPont.
Which are
Nelson
doing
Peltz
better?
has a long history of attacking companies to the ultimate detriment of shareholder value. His quest also seems more about vanity than a belief in Disney. Why else would he sell 500,000 Disney shares over the past 6 months in the middle of his proxy fight? Plus, he has no media
Wait a minute.
expertise and no experience.
Pause. How many didn't Bob Iger sell shares too? I believe he did. I believe he did.
80%.
80%. Yeah. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Just wanted to point that out. Continue.
Of his proxy fight. Plus, he has no media expertise and no experience in running a global entertainment company powered by creativity.
Wait. Pause again. Pause again. They showed a closed Dollar General or something like that. Dude, that a Family Dollar, that actually makes me want to vote for Nelson Peltz because I'd love to see Disney with fucking boards in the window. Let's do this. Go ahead.
No experience in running a global entertainment company powered by creativity.
They said I have no media experience. I don't claim to have any.
And then there's Jay Rasulo, a former Disney employee who was passed over for a promotion nearly a decade ago. He hasn't been employed since leaving Disney, and the last time he joined the board of a media company, the stock tanked. What's more, Peltz and Rizzullo have teamed up with another disgruntled former employee,
Wait a minute.
Ike Perlmutter, who has...
Oh, before we get to Ike, he didn't have a job, but the last time he worked, this thing is so disingenuous. By the way, that guy got passed over for political reasons. And if you go look at the media experience of the board, you won't find much of the board of Disney. Oh, you want to know what else you won't find much of Disney stockholders. You won't find very many Disney stockholders on the Disney board who have media experience.
Could I comment real quickly on just the style of this video is being done to instill fear. The music that's underneath it, the whispering narrator's voice, it's like it's like the tone of a lot of those true crime documentaries that are on Netflix. That is the style. They're aping that style. It's to push fear and division. It's a disgusting tactic that if you are in the true sense media literate, if you can look past that, you realize what their agenda is in making a video in this style. Sorry for my long-winded explanation, but if you notice stuff like that, it can't affect you because you're like, I know this is BS. I see through it. So anyways.
No, it is. And yeah, this is straight up a political ad. It is a political ad for an entertainment company that has dug their own fucking hole, and they are so fucking scared that this guy might, and I don't even think he's going to succeed. I don't think he's going to succeed. I don't have a lot of hope that shareholders who have their stocks buried in their 401ks and probably don't even fucking know they're investing in the Disney are going to be able to change any of this. We need more normies to pay attention. Flat out. That just needs to happen. It's not a judgment. It's just, that's what needs to happen. And I don't think it will. Play.
Another disgruntled former employee, Ike Perlmutter, who has his own lengthy record of destructive behavior inside Disney. Perlmutter has a well-documented grudge with Disney CEO Bob Iger.
Because he fucked him over. Because Bob Iger called him a fucking racist, dude. I'd be a little pissed too. He's like, he tried to stonewall Black Panther when Ike Perlmutter tried to get a Black Panther movie with Wesley Snipes off the ground. And Ike Perlmutter said, female action figures don't sell. Checks notes. Do that fucking gay Twitter thing. Checks notes. How's Hasbro doing? Not very good.
Yeah.
Not very good, because they tried to sell too many female action figures to dudes who don't buy them. Hit play.
In the boardroom is more than disruptive, it can be destructive. Especially at this critical time when, despite all of these distractions, Bob Iger and his management team have engineered an ambitious plan to build Disney's future, positioning the company for a new era of sustained growth and value creation.
The last thing that we need right now is to be distracted.
Okay, pause.
In terms of our time.
Who distracted Disney? Was it Nelson Peltz or was it Bob Iger who left about a month before COVID? By the way, we are very close to the 4-year anniversary of San Francisco, and I believe Los Angeles shutting down along with the rest of California for COVID for 2 weeks to slow the spread. March 16th, 2020, day I will never fucking forget. And he quit, brought in a fall guy, never really left, wouldn't let him have his office because he likes to take 2 showers a day, remained as chairman of the board, was only really gone for months, came back after the fall guy, who was an idiot, implemented everything that Bob Iger greenlit. And now he's back to lord over his own failures. Who created that distraction? Was it Nelson Peltz? Was it the audience? I'm pretty sure it was Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige, and whatever dipshits. Oh, that guy's fired now. The guy who greenlit all the live action remakes that are now bombing. Please continue.
Right now is to be distracted in terms of our time, our energy, by an activist or activists.
In fiscal 2024,
You've been run by activists, Bob. Bob, your fucking company is an activist company. You can hit play now.
Fiscal 2024, they expect cash flow to exceed initial projections and have set a target of $3 billion in stock repurchases. The board also declared a cash dividend of 45
There's your
cents.
buyback. There's your buyback. I've been there, dude. I've walked right up that building. Yeah.
Been there too. That was the offices. You got the 7 dwarves or people of height issues.
Yeah.
Whatever you want
Which
to
you
call
can't,
them.
which you can't, which you,
What do you call that?
midgets.
Yeah. I remember midget tossing.
Oh, my only complaint about the gentleman, and I think they did it as a joke, is they call it, there's gypsies in it, but then they later, I mean, they make it a joke, but they're like, you got to get right because we're called travelers now, and they call them travelers. Like, what the fuck?
No, but it's fun. Make fun of it.
Well, they do because the gypsies end up sticking smuggling weed in Mary in Mother Mary. So yeah. By the way, I'll talk about that show later. It's really fucking good. You should watch it, Chris. Hit play.
Oh,
to 45 cents per share, an increase of 50% versus the last dividend paid. After a year of significant fixing that made way for a new era of building for growth.
How dare they show Tron? Tron Legacy.
Creating lasting long-term value. This value is reflected in the recent stock performance, improved operating income, as well as the strategic moves recently made by
it
the
ain't
company,
that far up, baby.
such as the collaboration and equity stake in Epic Games.
Okay, pause.
The upcoming
Pause. The collaboration with Epic Games and Fortnite, when Bob Iger was specifically asked when this collaboration would start, he did not know. It was just to fool fucking stockholders.
Yep.
That is quarters off, financial quarters, years off, if it happens at all. And who knows if people are going to give a shit about Fortnite in 2 years? They certainly do now, but who knows? Okay.
Made by the company, such as the collaboration and equity stake in Epic Games, the upcoming release of Moana 2,
oh, that'll
Taylor
do
Swift's
it.
The Eras Tour coming to Disney Plus, and more. The Disney board is always open to good ideas from engaged shareholders, but a quick glance at Peltz's white paper will reveal a surprising number of questionable proposals that reinforce his clear lack of experience in media. Not to mention a litany of factual misstatements and quite a few proposals
So
that
what
Disney
are they?
is already implementing. Nelson Peltz and Jay Rizzullo threaten to jeopardize the incredible progress the company has made since Bob returned as CEO.
Hit pause.
At this critical
Hit pause. They just showed 2 movies that are Fox movies. Those are 2 fucking Fox movies. Those aren't Disney movies. And they finally go in. So Moana, that's going to bring them back. Man, I can't, my youngest kid's like, I can't wait for Moana, Dad. No fucking kid said that.
This ape movie too, I'm not super excited about it. Those
I'll
ape
watch
movies are
it because I
fine,
watch them. Yeah, they're fine. I think they're all like,
Fine.
they're okay.
but they're not. It looks like digital. It looks like a video game. I'm sorry. It's not. It doesn't look real to me. I miss Roddy McDowell.
Roddy
in a mask.
McDowell. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apes.
They're fine. They're okay. They're not bad. They're not bad. They're just not like memorable. They're like, this one, I'll watch it because I like Planet of the Apes. But
I like the original. What would you call a 5-film series?
I love the OG. I even watched the
Yeah.
TV series with the horrible masks. But
Yep. I watched the cartoon.
So the original, based on a French book, and this first script treatment was written by Rod Serling for the first Planet of the Apes, which was essentially a 2-hour Twilight Zone.
Yep. It's in the original book. It's weird if you watch the behind the scenes. I've got like this huge box set of the original Apes films, and there's a really interesting thing. They did all these makeup tests, which were terrible, by the way. I'm glad they didn't go with them. But in the original book, the civilization of apes was much more advanced.
Yes.
They had like helicopters and all this, and they're like, nah, we're gonna scale it back, But
Probably for budget reasons, and it worked in the film. But the book's pretty interesting, actually. Pretty good.
yeah, I never read the books, but I'm just fascinated by all that BTS stuff.
Yeah. Hit play. We're almost done.
Made since Bob returned as CEO.
As CEO.
At this critical moment, we simply cannot let that happen. The choice is clear. Vote Disney.
Vote white.
Vote white.
People. People.
Vote the
Always
white.
vote white.
Now, the thing that concerns me is
People.
they are pushing so hard for this to go one way that makes me really, really suspicious.
Oh God, yeah, dude, that screams vote the other way.
Yes,
that was desperation. That is straight up panic. And honestly, I'm not aware of this stuff. You got to go to the financial guys for better information, to be honest with you, because I just talk about the end product, right? The art form and how it's affecting culture. But as far as the financial issues, don't know shit about it. And I think it's great that's made headlines, but I never thought Peltz would win. But like, if I was a stockholder and I'd saw that, I'd be like, whoa, that was a bit much. Right. I'm going to look into this. Unless you want some confirmation bias, which I'm sure a lot of stockholders are there for. And there's activist stockholders on both sides because Disney is an activist corporation. They are getting involved in politics. Always have, by the way. They've done some very fucking shady things in Orange County. Just ask the city of Anaheim, which they own at this point. But yeah, they're getting involved in national politics and social engineering and trying to work their way into the fucking Florida classrooms. Like, piss off, you weirdos. No thanks. And they in turn betrayed their core audience, which is something that will create entropy in your company. This is a big corporation. It will take a long time, if it ever happens, to be completely destroyed. But the entropy has started by betraying your core audience. And there are now people who are like, I ain't going to, I am one of them. I went to, the only thing I liked about Disney was Disneyland. And I would love to check out Disney World. Thought they were fun. Never setting foot in that place again, ever. Been to Orlando twice. Didn't even think about going.
It's sad because I used to have annual passes years ago, and I stopped, and then that Star Wars Land happened, and I got to go to it for free because a friend of mine worked there. It was so disappointing.
Dude, it's not Star Wars Land. It is like generic some space thing land.
It's dollar store space war.
Yeah.
That's what that's what it is.
It is.
That's what it is.
It's terrible.
Dollar store space
Just go to
war.
Star Tours. Star Tours is like remember the old school one? You know, if you never went to the old school one, the whole ride is on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube, the old one from the 80s, which is great.
I loved the old one. It was so fun, and it really sort of captured the spirit of Star Wars. And the new Star Wars Land didn't capture anything. It was just god awful. And it makes me sad. And then but the thing is, when I used to go there, one of the things that was cool about Disneyland is some of the old school stuff. Like, you can still go to the tiki room with all the ethnic stereotype parrots that are like, oui, I'm the French parrot. I'm the German parrot. I love it.
It started going downhill when they changed pirates, dude. When they changed pirates.
When they changed pirates from like the men were chasing the women.
When they were being pirates.
Or like there is an area where you can go and a kid can get a shotgun and shoot. It's like the little shooting range.
The shooting range in Frontierland, right at the beginning.
Frontierland.
Right,
and
Frontierland,
like the Frontierland, that's not even a thing because it's very much, there's a lot of the original Disneyland is very much Americana. Right? Celebration of America as a country, all this. I mean, obviously Walt Disney was a patriot. I predict all that stuff is going away little by little, and they won't even announce it. Just wait. I agree.
And I think Clownfish talked about this first, so I want to give him credit. They want to drop the Walt from Walt Disney. They just want to call it Disney.
Are you joking?
I think that's where they're going. I think that's absolutely where they're going.
Oh my God.
I would argue they've already moved towards that, right? Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised, but go check out Clownfish has videos on those. Okay, Beau DeMayo. Beau DeMayo was a writer on The Witcher. was the guy who called out Lauren Hissrich's writing staff for not respecting the source material. So we're like, hey, that's fucking good for you, buddy. Good for you. He took over X-Men 97, which is a continuation of the wildly popular cartoon series from the 90s. Longest running Marvel cartoon series until that crappy Ultimate Spider-Man came out, which I didn't even finish or watch it because it's fucking terrible. I think it beat it by one episode. But dude, captured generations. It was a blueprint. It was part of your 90s experience was that X-Men cartoon. Just was.
Yeah.
You can't mention the 90s without mentioning that X-Men cartoon and how huge it was. And I would argue it made more X-Men fans than the comics. And then the X-Men fans came and read the comics. And they're like, holy shit, this cartoon adapted the comics.
Yeah.
You know, changing characters here, but pretty much the through lines are all still there. So pretty influential. So Bo DeMeo is going to take it over and immediately says, well, I want to take it over because I'm a gay black man, you know, and cue all the access media activists, morons who probably didn't even watch the entire series, probably have read half of a X-Men comic that came out in 2017, telling us what the X-Men are, which is, and Chris has mentioned it before, it was a comic for misfits. Any type of misfit. If you were a misfit, you could really, that's how it worked. That's why it worked. It was a comic for nerds. They were the misfits. And whatever type of nerd beyond that you were, that was just an aspect of your identity, which we always talk about. You know, Bo DeMeo, if he's, it's really reductive to just say, well, I'm a gay black man. Well, what else are you?
Yeah.
What else do you do? You know, it's super reductive, and it's just a way to play victim. So approaching it the wrong way, fundamentally misunderstanding what the X-Men was about, which initially was a superhero team that they just didn't want to invent origins for. That was it. Based on the atomic era and mutation. You know, that's the strange thing about Stan Lee is not, it wasn't like there was tons of thought. Spider-Man, he's like, yeah, I saw a fly in a window. I didn't want to make Fly Man. Well, what about Spider-Man? That's it.
It's so funny. I love his stories of how he came up with these characters, right? Like, just, they're so simple. I love it. And then the X-Men actually did technically have some of them, at least the original team had origins, but they were in the later issues, and they would be like stories in the back. Do you remember? Like, I remember the origin of Cyclops, Scott Summers, was really interesting. He was sort of this lost teen kid who had the glasses, so his lasers went, he was sort of, his powers were just sort of emerging in puberty, which I love that aspect, that like the powers kind of emerge during puberty.
Well, it's Storm, you know, in Giant Size X-Men 1, we see Storm, young Storm, you know,
right.
pickpocketing.
I love that.
That was great. And what a lot of people don't know is from the Comics Code era, where, you know, after Seduction of the Innocent, and they had like, comics just went and just, it got really tame and crazy. Marvel reused a bunch of characters and ideas from that era. Just keep that in mind. Like Uncle Ben and Aunt May were prototype characters in other movies. And when you start collecting, this is where you learn this. You learn that, oh, actually there was a prototype Aunt May in this issue. And you know, you'll find out that those ideas were out there, and they just reused them and added some more. But yeah, we'd see the early parts of it, and I like that part too. Chris, that's what was great about the X-Men. And honestly, that was for Generation X. We weren't born when Spider-Man and Daredevil and the Fantastic Four and all that was right before we were born. So we got to see the X-Men get popular like in real time. So I saw this character, like I'll never forget this character, Wolverine. It's like, dude, he's got like metal claws that comes out of his hand. He's got healing power, and he's Canadian, and he's short, and he's weird, but he's badass. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do this. You know, and Wolverine didn't really like launch into uber popularity until the very late 70s, early 80s. You know, so with his little 4-part miniseries by Frank Miller, which is fucking great, by the way. It's great. But yeah, that's what the X-Men is. X-Men, pretty best-selling comic book for decades. Like outsold Spider-Man, outsold Hulk, outsold anything DC, outsold Batman. The only comic book in our era that outsold it consistently. Now, occasionally an issue would come out to outsell it, but consistent best-selling comic was X-Men. The only one, DC one, that outsold it for a short period of time, deservedly so, was the Teen Titans. But, yeah, so he's fired. Bo DeMayo's fired. It comes out in 1 week. In 1 week. Wow. Social media scrubbed. He stopped talking about it. He was talking about it a lot. Red carpet's coming up. He's not going to be there. And I doubt any reporter is going to bring it up to anybody. Just like with Victoria Alonso. And I don't, you want to pull up the article real quick? X-Ray go. From the Hollywood Reporter. It's in Nooner. So we don't know why. In the article, it brings up at the very end an OnlyFans. A tame OnlyFans. It was just like, it wasn't full, like new, his dick wasn't flopping out. It was just like shirtless pictures or whatever. And it's a couple years old, and it's already been corrected on Twitter that was an old account. So Disney knew about it. And he shouldn't have been fired for that, period. I don't think so, unless there's something in his contract that says, you can't have an OnlyFans account, which I doubt. They would probably say
OnlyFans, but like, what does he do? Just talk about comics? Like,
oh, well,
it's not like
I don't know.
That's what
I've never been to OnlyFans and never will be. So
I've never been to OnlyFans. It seems weird. Like, it seems weird. Whatever. I mean,
it is. So we read part of this article yesterday, but yes, he was fired unceremoniously. A gay black man, had to be serious. So it could only be one of two things, but real quick, Marvel had no comment. DeMayo's representatives did not return calls for comment. I don't know if that has changed since yesterday. Please let me know if it has. And emails to showrunner yielded no response. It was a surprising turn of events on the eve of the show's March 20th debut, which is 7 days away. Splitting with writers is a normal part of business for Marvel. Yes. Or any studio. However, it is unusual for a top creative on a Marvel project to miss a premiere or cancel press plans last minute, even if they've been shuffled to the side. Most Marvel premieres feature multiple screenwriters walking the red carpet, some of whom have been rewritten by other writers also working on the red carpet. Yeah, they invite everybody, which is like a nice thing to do, right? Like, even though you've been rewritten, you were part of this process, come to the showing. It's also to keep them happy and to keep them from spouting out. Marvel announced DeMayo's hiring in November 2021, blah, blah, blah. He, by the way, it says the move was met with some level of excitement as the scribe brought his identity as a gay black man to the project.
This is kind of what we were talking about
Chat,
earlier.
did that excite you about the X-Men 97? Sorry, Chris, go on.
But it's just like, it's that whole thing of like, identity is such a thing that you have to wear on your sleeve these days just to get hired in Hollywood, where below the line people are being asked, quote, do you check any boxes? An exact quote from an agent to a below the line worker who just works on film sets and film and TV sets. This is mafia type of practices where you either have to show fealty or show that you're of a certain a type of person, and so that they can exclude other people. I was chatting with a friend before the show. I don't even know if I should say his name, but a very good friend from the 80s.
Good old 80s.
Buddy knows who he is.
He survived.
And telling me that like friends cannot get hired. And I'm just like, this is what I've been pushing forever. Just make an indie movie. Just make an indie film.
Get off the corporate teat.
Get off the point. Don't get the regular paycheck is nice, and make an indie thing. Make an indie thing. Or also you can just do an indie thing on the side.
So many people get their value from being attached to the corporation. They just do. They're too scared to go indie because indie requires taking a lot of fucking responsibility for your own work and stuff. But if you really believe in your own work, that shouldn't be a problem. But speaking of identity, a lot of people get fulfillment with their identity from being attached to the corporation. You know, industry boys and girls. It really gives them value. That little name badge or that signature on that paycheck and being able to put it on their Twitter bio. And they're afraid that their fame is only attached to that corporation and they don't want to go out on their own and find out the truth, which quite frankly is that, yeah, you're famous because you worked for that corporation and you worked on that character that was owned by the corporation.
Yeah, but I do think there is a pathway toward indie success that can lead to even more,
fulfillment,
more freedom. Number one,
more fulfillment, more freedom,
and
happier,
possibly more money. I mean, look, I just bought a little Yaira package yesterday. I picked my cover, I picked my T-shirt, I bought something else. I forgot. It just looked good. I want to be able to just buy like a long box, a Rippaverse long box. I just want one of those. I didn't see it in there, but I'm sure it'll come back because he did that as like a perk and I missed it. Whatever. I like the Rippa model. I really think it's amazing what he's doing. But even like people like Trent Reznor have done stuff like that. He did that thing. Do you remember it was like a 4 CD set called Ghosts?
Yeah, he just broke away from corporations, started producing his own stuff. A lot of bands have done that now, and it's more lucrative for them. So they're not in the limelight all the time, but they have their core audience, and Trent Reznor is making more money off of it.
Yeah,
and Todd McFarlane talked about that too with Spawn. Like he could have taken the Spider-Man big bucks, but he went over to Spawn and ended up making a lot more money. Now he's a rare case because Todd is a good businessman. Aside from being, I mean, he doesn't like drawing that much anymore because he doesn't do it that much anymore. But really fucking good businessman, and good for him. But you're right. Like this is where the decentralization, if we break away from the corporation and things become more artisanal, you can make a good living and be happy. Be happy. There's that Lynch video going around now on Twitter of some producer fucking talking in his ear. You haven't seen this?
Oh, I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
You're talking about David Lynch.
David Lynch. Yeah. Some producer's like, hey, could you make that scene shorter? And he's like, shut the fuck up. Why? Yeah, he just goes off on this producer. It's great. It's great. It's been good. It's gone around for like the last few months, but I don't even know what he was working on, but he goes off on producers piping in his ear and he's just like, shut the fuck up. And I bet you that happens a lot.
Are you kidding? That happens tons.
Yeah. Yeah. So wouldn't you want to be free of that? Some know-nothing fucking producer that's probably some, niece or nephew of the executive who went to some film school for 6 months to a year and got a degree, but doesn't understand art at all. Yeah. Okay. So
it's good to tell those people to F off.
As the scribe brought his identity as a gay black man to the project and made a point in talking to the press about how growing up as the adopted son of white parents with a Korean sister in the South made the X-Men characters and their struggles for acceptance by society feel personal to him. Well, good for his parents, by the way.
Yeah.
For adopting him. Stuff. I'm an adoptee. And there you go. His silence on social media has been acute as he was a prolific poster sharing X-Men tidbits as well as shirtless pictures of himself at the gym. Whatever. That doesn't bother me at all. For a time, he also ran a non-explicit OnlyFans account. OnlyFans.
An explicit? Is that what it says?
Non-explicit.
Non-explicit.
Okay.
All of which inspired the LGBTQ, no plus there, publication out to declare him the sexy gay man writer of a show and showrunner to know. Well, I guess not anymore. And we don't know. There's no explanation why he was fired, and maybe we'll find out. I mean, we did kind of find out why Victoria Alonso was fired, right? So they used the excuse that she went off and produced another movie for Amazon, which Disney completely fucking knew about and had no problem with until she started getting a little, she called out her CEO during a GLAAD event. That's what got her fired. That will get anybody fired, by the way. And that's That's the rules of the corporation that you signed up for. You start calling out the big boss, even though he agrees with you on fucking everything. Behind the scenes, he's going to go, well, I agree with her politically, but she's a backstabbing bitch and she needs to go. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of working in the industry and working for the corporation. And you need to know that. And Victoria Alonso got a little big, like quite literally, for her britches and was canned for it. Even though she said all the right things and she checked all the right boxes, you come across the wrong people, it's over. Now, there's a lot of speculation of what Bo DeMeo may have done or not have done. I have no idea. So there's that possibility. That's a possibility. The other possibility is they sat down and watched it and it's fucking shit.
Oh, no.
That's a possibility. Now, you tell me, Chris, do you think Bob Iger and Kevin Feige are paying close attention to the animated series that's going to go on D+, or are they all busy with their other projects and they probably didn't watch? They probably watched dailies and it looked fine, but when they sat down and watched the whole thing, went, "Ooh, fuck." Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility, but I have heard nothing. I have heard nothing good or bad about it so far, so we'll see.
And it's an animated show, so
yeah,
a lot of people aren't going to take it seriously, but it's a big deal to Marvel fans if there's any left. Like this is, it's a big deal to X-Men fans, old school X-Men fans. When they announced that, it's not the worst idea they have announced. It's like, no, this is actually kind of a good idea if they did it right, which they won't. And I know there's talks of like, hey, let's do Spider-Man too, because that ended on a fucking cliffhanger. And the answer is no. Fuck no. Absolutely not. No. So you could take the article down. I suppose we'll find out. The internet sleuths will find out eventually. Bo DeMeo has been awfully quiet. So would you want to run out there and start talking after you got unceremoniously fired a week before, even if it's just for, like merit reasons?
Yeah.
Not really sure.
I don't know. The timing is suspicious.
Very suspicious. And we fans are going to speculate. This would be the conversation in the comic shop. Did you hear the showrunner for X-Men 97 got fired a week before it came out? That's fucking weird. Well, he probably got me too'd. Probably grabbed somebody's package. That's the conversations that are going to be had. Is it true? No, and it's not fair to say that stuff, but life isn't fair. So there you go. I guess the best possible reason was it's shit. He got fired because it's shit. Things end up being shit.
Yeah, it's weird because someone of his identity generally doesn't get fired. And that was pretty kind of public too, because the timing, again, something is up.
Something is up. How long is that governor's speech where he's roasting people?
Oh, it's like 12 minutes, but I'm saying maybe watch it later.
I'll watch it later.
Just to see, it's really good. It's really good. You're like, why isn't he hosting the Oscars? That was maybe something of an audition, but how awesome. Like John Mulaney, his special on Netflix now about his intervention with all his friends. He talks about very blatantly about doing drugs and how it sort of came to that point. It's really awesome special on Netflix. I think you would appreciate it in particular, Gary. It's pretty good.
Excellent. Let's get to soups.
Yep.
How am I supposed to? Skiz Spivak Esquire has gifted 5 Nerdrotic memberships for $25. Hail. Thank you very much. The members, thank you. Quentin Collins for $20. Hi, Chris. As a fellow David Lynch enthusiast, I really appreciate the respect Denis Villeneuve seems to have for him. The scene of an ant-covered corpse and the ear close-up is a homage to Blue Velvet.
I mean, you could read into it that homage. It is. I don't know that it actually is, but a lot of Dune, because it's sort of in the language, the books have been around, the David Lynch version has been around, and I do think that Denis there are little nods here and there. So that actually, I could see that. That makes sense.
Arg, another name, Streamlabs side for $20 a donation outside of YouTube. We appreciate that. I've moved to calling the DEI consultancies, Sweet Toddler Inc. and Stink for short. They make all the current and former employees, like the racist developer at Cliffhanger, stinkers. They are stinkers. They stink. They stink up an industry, and they're foul. It's just a foul way of thinking, and it's obvious they were completely brainwashed at some horrid university where their parents wasted a bunch of fucking money, or we did, and then their debt was forgiven. Tomahawk for $50. Gary, if you're wanting a manga recommendation, how about Read or Die? It's only about 4 volumes long. Good times. I say that's because I don't think the anime or OVA are on any streaming platform. Okay. I will check it out. Maybe. Somebody sent me Dragon Ball, so I got to read that.
Very cool.
Arg, another name for 1999. Got to get Brandon on FNT. Oh, we will. We will. We talked about it. I believe his runoff election is March 28th. So if you were in my district, which is Eastern San Antonio, all the way to El Paso, it's fucking huge. It's I believe the guy's name is Tony Gonzalez's district. He's the incumbent Rhino. And the Daily Mail's like running pictures of Brandon Herrera, like holding giant fucking guns. And it's like, it's just going to get him more votes. They're trying to like this gun-toting YouTuber. And it's like, yep. Mohammed Alabani, for $250.
Qatar, I believe.
Qatar pesos. Sorry. When the lady said she doesn't want to hire white people, is this natural end result of DEI? Yes. Did she just say the quiet part out loud? Oh, they've been saying it a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
The diversity and inclusion is less white. And less white means no white, but less of any race. See, they won't stop there. Okay. What's the end game of this? We made things less white. Are they going to stop? Where's the next step on that progressive stack? No, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And it doesn't make okay, because then you like they talk their language, othering. They're fucking othering people. And they're othering by saying, "Oh, you can't be racist to white people." That's what the Kotaku fucking hag said on Twitter proudly. And remember in South Park in the Kathleen Kennedy episode, when Cartman's a black woman, she's like, you can't be racist against white people. They're just a bunch of fucking honkies. You know, like that. They made a joke about it, and they're living the meme now. So like South Park is not only prophetic, it's starting to fall behind with its parody. It's starting to fall behind. Angela Richter has gifted 5 Nerdrotic memberships for $25. Hail! Oh, dog stream.
My dinner arrived.
Britt Cormier for $20 says, people that think microaggressions are real have never experienced real aggression. When you use that type of language, all you can think of is, damn, you've had an easy life. Yep. Somehow she's the victim.
Oh, and it's just moving the goalposts too, because simple questions like, why do these people like this? That's a microaggression, really? You've not, as you said, you haven't experienced real racism at that rate.
No. LKDTA, 2 parts for $20. Says, love the Nerdrotic and Film Threat channels. Thank you, Gary, X-Ray Girl, and Chris for what you guys do. Any of you guys watch Blue-Eyed Samurai? Drinker had high praise for it. This show seems to do what the channels like the other one are asking for. Did female characters well. Better than One Piece, in my opinion. It wasn't better than One Piece. I liked it, though.
Yeah, I have not seen it. Everyone's it's hard for me to do TV with all the movies I got to see, but I did, Gary. Not sure we'll get a chance to talk about it much today, but I saw 3 Body Problem every episode.
And?
It's very good. It's very good. I have nitpicks. There's a character in it that is the most, like, they took like, well, let's just take all the woke stuff and just put it in one character. And this one character is just so annoying, girl boss, know-it-all. It's just like, she's just cringe, one of the scientists. But as a science fiction story, as someone who just loves sci-fi, going back forever, I love the you know what the tone of it is? I figured it, and here's the problem. The first 2 episodes are kind of slow and you have no idea what's going on. By the time it gets to the 3rd episode and it's revealed even what the words 3-body problem mean, when you understand it, is so effing cool. And it's sort of like, the tone of it is like Lost. It's this global, very global ensemble cast, right? It starts in the 1960s during the Cultural Revolution in China, where one of the characters sees her father, who's a scientist, being shamed and beaten to death on stage. It's a comment on now. That scene is a comment on now. It's so well executed. So you see the motivations of the woman who sees her father shamed and murdered, and how she feels about this cultural revolution. It's amazing opening to that show. And then it's sort of like, I really like the show Lost initially until it went nowhere. And what sucked about Lost was, hey, look at this mystery box. Forget that mystery box. There's a new mystery box, and there's this mystery box, and nothing is gonna ever make sense. The cool thing about this show is there are mystery boxes and they all pay off. They don't wait very long to tell you, like, a mystery will be part of it. Like a scientist is seeing these weird countdown numbers in front of their face. First of all, how is it happening? Why is it happening? Why is it only happening to specific types of scientists? What is going on? No one knows what the hell's going on. It all makes sense. It's all revealed. It's very thoughtful and scientific. And there's a cringe scene where two female scientists are at a bar and a white dude comes up to him, and like, it's just like, you can just write it yourself. It's so dumb. But like, so like maybe there's like 10 or 20% that's cringe. And then I really got into it. I really want to watch it again, actually. I think you'll like most of it, but the way they set it up, this thing could go forever, this show, which kind of bums me out.
Did you say you saw all 3 episodes? Is there only 3 episodes?
All 8. I saw all 8.
Okay. Sorry.
So I've seen
Misunderstood.
Yeah. Sorry. So I really enjoyed it, Gary. It's like Lost if they actually paid shit off, and it's smart. The characters, it's like I say, it reminded me of Lost in the sense that, like, there's people from all types of people from all over the world. And it makes sense because it's a global issue that's being dealt with. And I'm not familiar with the books. Never read it. Now I really want to read the books, because the way I obviously, no spoilers. I'm being vague about everything. I'm just saying you have to get to episode 3 to really kind of figure out what the hell's going on. And once it reveals itself, is freaking awesome, because part of it is in a video game. And also some of the special effects, you can tell, like with these, when you have 8 episodes, there's like, this is the episode where everyone's talking and it's kind of boring. And then this is the episode where we spent a lot of money on special effects. So it does have like a couple episodes that are like, we need to get to the next episode. But what I love is they don't keep mysteries for very long. Something's a mystery. Why is this happening? It pays off. And I gotta say, I'm hooked, and I'm gonna watch it again. And I didn't think I would feel this way.
Cool.
So
cool. Now
I'm dying.
You gotta watch The Gentleman.
No, I hear that's good. Where is The Gentleman?
It's on Netflix. It's the best show I've seen since One Piece.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. On my list. Drinker recommended it to me. So, but 3-body problem. And what sucks is I can't talk about it with anybody. Like, I'm being very
it's not out for like a month.
It's not till the end of the month, but I really, when you see it, I think it's where I watched it in 2 days.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out for sure.
I couldn't wait, but it's like, okay, Game of Thrones guys, let's see what you got. And I do think that they're better when they have a
finished book.
A finished book. And I'm not even like, so I'm not trying to catch. I'm trying to catch myself up with like, okay, this book series, but the fact that opening scene during the Cultural Revolution in China is so much a comment on now. I love it. I love it.
That's awesome.
And it's very subtle. It's subtle, but it's like it's right there because it's all these young kids, after like people with these old ideas, they're just going to destroy everything, and you're like, oh shoot, this is a comment on the culture war now. It's awesome. It's really awesome.
There you go. So, and it comes out end of March. So Josh Kelsey has dropped $19.99 and does nothing. Just walks away because that's what Josh does. The Green Skull, 2 parts for $40. Says, I'm the grandson of Disney's first princess, the live actress that was rotoscoped. Oh, the live action actress who was rotoscoped with Oswald and Lucky Rabbit as my gran. Was the little girls for the late 20s Disney and Save Disney. And, I got stories. When Uncle Walt lost his creation, Oswald, my grandmother saved Uncle Walt, the rat's origin I know. I know things, my dudes. You want dirt? I got a dump truck of Disney dirt. There is so much more, Gary. What's up, Chris?
Hey, send it to me.
Email us, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm easy to contact. Go to my website, Film Threat. You can see contact.
We also, right after I was done with The Gentleman, the new Shogun was up.
Yeah, I just have to get Hulu. I resisted it because I just feel
there's ways to until they crack down on it. There's ways to share passwords, dude.
Okay, well, all right.
But it was like mostly a dramatic setup episode, and at the end you see people getting vaporized by a cannon, which is it was kind of awesome. It was brutal. Oh my God. Like just body parts. Pew! Dudes like missing legs and arms. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Hanzo Swart 01 for $10. Gary and the Critical Drinker on Piers Morgan proves we're winning the culture war. Well, I mean, I guess we were on the UK telly, which I was unaware of. So Paul, one of the producers on Piers Morgan watches FNT, and Drinker invited me to come on with them. I got the invitation through Drinker, and we had Mike Barra on Forbidden Frontier from Ancient Aliens, and he gave some really good advice because he just came from an engineering background, and he knew this guy named Richard Holglin, and he started writing some stuff for a website. Next thing you know, he's on Ancient Aliens, right? And what he said was, once you start doing that stuff, you say yes to everything. When people ask you to do something, you say yes. You absolutely say yes. And I wasn't sure what I was getting into. Like it could have been like a debate. It could have been an ambush. It wasn't that way, by the way, at all. And I think it's good that if we feel strongly about our principles and what I don't have all the answers. Chris doesn't have all the answers. We're just giving our opinions. That's all it is. But if we feel strongly about this, we're not afraid to go talk about it anywhere. And I feel that way. I think it's good to get our message of common sense out there and bring it back. And if Piers Morgan, however you feel about him, I don't agree with gun politics at all. If he's willing to listen, do it. And yeah, in some cases you might get ambushed. It's going to be disingenuous, mostly with the mainstream media. You got to be careful of that, but you can't be afraid of it. So,
well, Gary, your stand on common sense makes you part of the alt middle. You're
right?
You're part of the far middle now.
The far middle.
You're going to get lumped. I want to make that a thing.
Which side is it far?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Well,
no, but it's because I've always been a guy that you got to earn my vote. I'll vote here. I'll vote there. I'll vote independent. You got to earn it. And I look at the proposals. I look at what people, and I vote no on a lot of stuff just because I want less government control.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the alt middle and far middle.
I vote no on every tax hike.
Same. Every proposal. It's just like, this is the program for this that will never go away. No, it's $1 billion a year. State of California, you just know this. Vote no on all the proposals. Not every. You got to be careful because sometimes if you vote no, you're actually voting yes. So you got.
You do have to read the stuff. You have to read it.
So I read them all. I've been a very conscientious voter, always.
The infamous El Guapo on for $10 on the Streamlabs side. Being a dad, I love this dad stream with dad rants. My kids and I have read the Dune books and enjoyed the movie, but my youngest daughter says, great, the next movie is going to be about Chinese Odyssey. Based Gore with your plethora of buckets. Can he have one?
All I can say is this: I sent one. I owe Alan a bucket. I have 3 buckets. I'm just gonna give one to Alan. I have the buckets that were at the Regal because they came with these really cool drink things, a Dune drink cup thing. It's like a Stanley Cup, but Dune. Anyways,
Jim Reaper for $4.99. Gary is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's not like me and Chris were just catching up and talking. Golden Nuggets for £5 British. Damn it, Gary. Now I can say that I know a guy who met Piers Morgan. Good show. You and Drinker smashed it. Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure how I was going to do. They prepped us. That was nice.
Yeah.
They gave us.
The producer prepped you.
The producer gave us some, like, here's the questions, here's the parameters, and and then said, don't hold back in any way, shape, or form, which I thought was nice. Kaleoth for $10 says, Hail, the world has turned into Courage the Cowardly Dog. Woke Eustace Bag cries for DEI, Muriel, and it's up to Courage to save his invaded home. Stupid media, you made me vote bad. Ooga booga booga. Big Raj, $1.99 for a thumbs up sticker. Hail. Vapor Trails for $4.99. Good job on Pierce. Thank you very much. How do you feel about the world thinking your name is Nerdrotic? That's fine. Actually, I think that's fine.
God, can you clip that thing of just Piers saying, Nerdrotic? That was so, I was dying. It's like, that's good. Get the brand out. Get the brand out.
I liked it. I was like, good.
Yeah.
Do it. Rebecca Gold, Ian, for 10 British pounds. I directed a horror film in the 80s with Michael Ironside and the producer was Indian. He was wrong so many times and never admitted it. He was wrong. So I know what you're saying. Ian, who does make films, by the way. Ian he went to the UK meetup. He also came to the Dallas meetup. He flew out from the UK. Nice. Hey, Ian, love you, brother. Big based Doctor Who fan who fucking hates everything that they've done. That's where we met. Piece of Utter Destruction for $1.99. Undiscovered Country or Wrath of Khan. I like 6. Ooh, that's.
Those are probably the 2 strongest. Some of the ones like Star Trek 3 doesn't hold up as well when you watch it now. Search for Spock does not hold up as well. Some of it seems like they just,
edge to Wrath of Khan because of Ricardo Montalban. But dude,
no, you gotta go Wrath of Khan.
Undiscovered Country is fucking fantastic. It's
really good.
Fantastic movie, and I've watched it just as much as I've watched Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, I do like Undiscovered Country. Purple Klingon Blood or whatever.
Yep. Vapor Trails, $4.99. This is the counterculture. You are the counterculture, Chris. Yes, you are. Always have been. Yeah. Carl Suburban. Instead of Carl Urban, it's Carl Suburban. That's pretty good. For $10. Dance halls like in the movie Marty and social clubs like Lions, all designed to give people something to do at night. All mostly dead, dying since TV came in with the late 50s. Cultural Darwinism. Yeah. Well, we are getting the interactive experience and the group experience, but we're just doing it with each other. Another thing we couldn't bring up on Piers because of the time. I was going to bring up that, I guess the difference, because he was complimenting us on being, kind of the media for critics. Like, Drinker's a critic and way more of a critic than I am, right? Because there's certain shit I'm just not going to watch. I'm not going to sit through a fucking drama. Like, rare exception, like The Father, which is fabulous, but like dramas, I have no desire to see them, how good they are. Biopics don't really do anything for me. I don't like people just sitting around, especially when it's historical and I know it's true and I know there's just a bunch of bullshit going into it. With drama, if I want to remember a drama, I just remember something from my fucking life. With movies, I want wizards, I want fucking spaceships, I want superheroes or a drug deal gone bad. Like, that's pretty much my jam, or a Western, and I want to see something I wouldn't normally experience. That's so, I'm not going to have this vast knowledge of watching absolutely everything because I'm not going to watch everything. I just not interested. I'm interested in genre. That's my jam. But the whole point being was that, he was saying that we're the critics. And I'm like, no, I mean, the difference is that we interact with the audience. A Piers Morgan show doesn't talk to the chat. No offense to them or anything, but they don't talk to the chat. Greg Gutfeld doesn't talk to the chat. However way, it's not like back in the old days when, there was 10 people in the chat and we could just sit there and have a conversation for 3 hours, which was fucking awesome, by the way.
Right.
Miss that.
Yeah.
But it was, I see it and I see how they're reacting in real time. And it's not different from when I worked at a comic shop and I was behind the counter, or any retail where you're in entertainment, where you're working behind the counter and you're just shooting the shit all day about all the stuff in your building, all the movies, music or whatever. That's what it was. That's what it is. And that's how you find out how people actually feel. You don't need to market research or any of that. Just talk to the audience. They'll tell you what they like. They're not afraid to at all. And that's where the interaction, that's where the shared experience is. You're right. The water cooler show is gone. It's gone because the binge model is fucking terrible. It's terrible. Like The Gentleman, if it was released weekly, people would be talking about it every week, especially the way it builds up. And then you can binge it when it's done. But then the buildup happens. Everybody starts watching it at the same time. And then everybody's there for the finale. Right. Well, that's what usually happens.
I was talking to an industry friend. We were talking about the binge model, Netflix and all that. And the thing that is missing is the feedback loop. Here's the feedback loop and how it would work. And this actually worked in the show Lost. So Lost, very popular show. Huge success in its first few seasons until it kind of meandered. But you get 2 pieces of feedback. One, the ratings. How well are people? How many people are watching it? How are they responding? And 2, there were message boards. There were message boards about Twin Peaks in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's how popular Twin Peaks was.
That's why it became a cult success. Yes.
Right. And also the way production was, shows would be released and they'd still be in production on shows. They'd get an order, then another order, then a mid-season, and the next season, they take time. But like that feedback loop allowed them to go, this character is not very popular, because characters did get written out of Lost because they just didn't resonate with audiences.
Yep.
And I feel like the show 3 Body Problem might have benefited from that. Now, I'll say that it's based on a series of books, which I have not read, so I don't know. But it's an ensemble cast, and
well, you're right.
Not everybody makes it.
Here's the other part of that problem. Here's the other part of that feedback loop problem. Yes, because you're seeing it in real time as it progresses over each week, coming out at the same time, where roughly everybody who's really into it will watch it at the same time. They will also spread the word of mouth on this show, and then people will be able to jump on before it's finished. And then that gets you the crescendo for a good show, which propels it into the stratosphere. And yes, you get that real time feedback. Also, it feels like you spent more time with the show. See, with streaming shows, The Gentleman is very cinematic. It is like a movie. Okay. So it's going to be 2 years minimum if we get a season 2. I think it will, but they set up everything for a season 2. It's got an ending. There's a journey at the end, but it could definitely go to season 2. Okay. But if you just binge it in a weekend and then it's 2 years from now, feels like forever. But at least if you've spent 2 or 3 months watching it, and I still think 2 years is terrible. They need to break that. Yeah. They need to come down on the budgets a little bit. And because with television, it's a character focused medium. It's not a cinematic medium. Everything is character focused, but you can take more time with the movie and be more, they're different beasts, right? You want to be character driven in television. And you get to know these characters, you spend time with these characters, but then you stop giving a fuck after 2 years, even if it's a show you like. That's not sustainable either. Binge or not, waiting 2 years in between a show, not sustainable at all.
Yep.
Johnny Cash for $1.99. He just left $1.99. Johnny, one of the greatest artists who ever lived, Johnny Cash. Ish Fine for 2 British pounds. X-Ray Girl looks great in Stellar Blade demo leak.
Amazing. I agree. Incredible. X-Ray Girl.
All Far for $10. PBD just brought on Cuomo as part of that being said, has a fucking perfect take on it. That Cuomo is from CNN. Cuomo faked being with the coof. Cuomo's brother sent a lot of old people to their deaths. I think it's a fucking terrible move. I think it's a terrible, and I think he's a fucking fraud. I think he saw the. I think he went, oh, my opinion's over there. I need to go find it. Yeah, I think he's a total fraud.
I'm annoyed. I think he's a dimwit. I've heard like clips of stuff. I never liked him when he was on CNN.
No, he's like the Hassan Piker of CNN, dude. That's what he is.
He covered for his brother. What a scumbag. I'm not a fan, and I like PBD, so this is huge.
I do too.
But then look at like Jeremy had the best take. I was watching G&G Daily this morning, as I do when I'm half awake getting coffee. But his take, like, yeah, what about Jack Murphy? Right? Never even just gone, and then doesn't address it.
Yeah, Tim Pool didn't have a leg to stand on. That doesn't change the fact that Cuomo is a fucking bad fit. I mean, people bitch about that Adam guy, right? Who's not nearly as bad as Cuomo. So you're gonna have it. By the way, Cuomo tries like his Tucker interview. I saw all that. He's trying to glaze it like, oh, it was just different people with different positions. Do you have a short memory? Go back and watch his clips on CNN and how vindictive he was towards half the country. And you think he just turned that off? Or so is he being a fraud then? Or is he being a fraud now? Authenticity is the currency of the present, of the fucking now. The guy ain't authentic. He's fake as fuck. I think PBD is authentic. I think that's an authentic guy. I think that's just like a dude trying to figure shit out. I got no problem with him. I don't think it's a good fit. I think he's going to be on once a week, whatever. Not my decision, his fucking show, and it's big. But yeah, I whatever.
Yeah, same.
You know, it's not like I have, you have co-hosts, I have co-hosts that we do not agree politically. We do, on a lot of stuff, stuff. But the baseline is we will talk to each other. We're fans, and we'll break this stuff down. And a lot of us call it the woke shit. But when it gets into like policy and stuff, we actually don't talk about it very much. I don't know the politics of some of my co-hosts. I know the politics of other co-hosts that aren't along with mine. I don't give a shit. They're my friends. But this is a different beast. This is fucking Cuomo, dude. You know. And yeah, what's a Candace Owens too? Yeah, bully hunters. Can't forget bully hunters.
What is? I don't know anything about.
Look into it. It's bully hunters it's a fucking GamerGate thing, like way back. People could change their minds too, and I'm open to that. Absolutely open to that. I think at least Candace Owens. Not the biggest fan of hers, but she's been pretty consistent since then. Pretty, not totally, but I don't watch her anymore. Just clips that come up on Twitter and stuff. Griffin Eagle 7 for £2 First time super chat. Hello, Exode Agoo. Simp.
Hi.
Thank you, though. Chris, you got to go?
Well, no, I'll stick around.
Okay.
Because I got to talk to you. I have stuff to talk about off.
Yeah, okay. we do. We got to talk about stuff.
Yeah, I got to talk about some stuff. I got to eat, but it's all good.
Lynn Jones. Mrs. Kelly Jones.
Hi, Lynn.
What's up, Lynn?
Hey.
For $5. Once had a friend who said bobs are like Christmas presents. You never know what you get until you unwrap the package.
Ayo.
They are. They are. I mean, are they real? Are they fake? Does it matter? I don't know. Jason Cook for 50. My wife and I have come to the conclusion that old 23-plus episodic show made TV great. Stargate, Battle, B5, TNG, DS9, Farscape. The 8 to 10 episode streaming shows with 1 year in between seasons, we just lose interest. You're right. There's a place for prestige TV. I prefer it as storytelling when you're adapting a book or a comic. I think it would be a better place for comic book stuff. If done right, Daredevil proves that. Daredevil, like, that's where, if everything was done like fucking Daredevil, it would be better. But you could say that about everything. But that's where it belongs. But not everything. I think you need like procedural stuff too. Like Az was talking about Reacher compared to The Gentleman. They're so different. Like Reacher's procedural kind of show, right? The Gentleman is very cinematic. It's very Guy Ritchie. It's very British. So if you like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and all the Guy Ritchie stuff, then you'll fucking love this. I love this stuff because it's character-based and it's typical Guy Ritchie. It's these characters from different classes are put in insane situations that go sideways. That's the show. It is Succession. And it's, okay, for one, you don't have to watch the movie at all. I would recommend you do because it sets up the world. Now, it exists in the same world as the movie, just with different characters, right? But if you want to compare it to something that normie Americans would know, it's Succession with people who murder people, but they're more likable. Does that make sense? So it's Succession with people who fucking murder people who are way more likable than any character in Succession, including the drug addict. So, dude, the first episode is a fucking banger. It's got a guy having to do an apology in a chicken suit to a drug dealer. It's fucking funny. It's funny. It's a funny show. It's a funny show. It's got Vinnie Jones, man. Come on. As a father figure. Ajax Skyline for $9.99. Hey, Gary, do you still collect comics? Yes. How do you feel about the CGC slabs? Mixed. I remember a few months back you said you don't like different art cover variants. Why? Do you buy online or do you go to shops? Because when they were a novelty, they were fine. But now it's like collecting cards because you get the cover, which has nothing to do with the comic, and the art and the story on the inside of that comic are generally shit. And it's just a way to pad numbers. And it doesn't mean I buy a comic to read it. If it has one, like the Steve Ditko variant of Spider-Man 700 that's signed by Stan Lee, which I have, I got it because it's a Steve Ditko variant, and I got all the variants because I collect all Spider-Man. But if it's just some rando shit, I stopped doing that. By the way, I don't buy new comics outside of Rip-A-Verse or Mark Millar. I do buy Conan right now because it's very good. Conan's a damn good book, and I'm thinking about buying Transformers and G.I. Joe because I heard they're pretty good. But as far as new comics, I'm out. I'm pretty much out, and I won't buy anything from Marvel and DC. Fuck them. But I buy older comics that I haven't read because there's tons, and they end up being cheaper, as I showed on previous episodes. There's some later issue Savage Swords of Conan that I didn't have. I was getting them for $3 a pop, and they're better than anything coming out today. Udite one for $5. We manga readers prefer physical media, but learn to tolerate digital before the physical stuff was readily available stateside. Okay. Yeah. And honestly, piracy. See, this is where piracy helps. A lot of kids couldn't get manga, translated manga, but they were getting it via piracy. And it made a lot of fucking fans who ended up buying your shit. So, yeah, that's just a fact. Enakbamon on the Streamlabs side for $24, part 1. I know we have tried to avoid politics here, but I can't keep quiet about this. Our borders are wide open and now we may have well-known ISIS terrorists in the country. The dirty bomber who's been farting has been cited. To find who's been farting, they're using smell. If you know who's been farting, please contact authorities. Meanwhile, his partner, what is it? I shit me drawers. I shit me drawers was cited near as. He got away, but left skid marks at the scene. It's only a matter of time before you suck my dick appears. he's bringing cousins. Oh shit! It goes on forever. You leak my dick and you like my dick. Hopefully, ISIS member too. I've got a poopy. I've got a poopy butt. Never shows up. DHS will have to call the code brown if that's what happens. Sorry to be serious. I know I try to have fun here and keep things light, but I couldn't help myself. Oh God, there's one more. No one wants to worry about who's been farting. Good night and God bless.
Take me and now come on for the last.
Good God. Bruce Leroy Jenkins for $5. Isn't this year's CinemaCon the 1-year anniversary of Drunk 3PO gave birth to Frank Gore? It is.
Yep.
It is. We need to celebrate. We need to celebrate. You know what we need is a Caucasian's jersey, right? Not a shirt. We all got our Caucasian shirts. Mine's on the way. I think it already arrived. We got our Caucasian shirts, but I think we need a Redskins jersey that's a Caucasian's jersey that says Gore on the back.
Ah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drunk CPO gave birth to Frank Gore. His contribution should be recognized again. 24-hour loop stream. Absolutely. Of Drunk 3PO.
With Frank.
Yeah.
Just Frank.
I'm here. I'm just off camera. I'll
Only Frank. Oh, are you okay?
It's fine. Nothing.
Drunk's here.
Hi, Jay. He
What's up,
was
Jay?
here earlier in the stream.
Oh my God.
Isn't this so Wrath's Reign for $10? Hail, Gary. I love you and the rest of FNT. You guys just saved my life dealing with bipolar, depressing, and suicidal thoughts. Holy crap. That's not easy. I'm glad that we helped in any way possible. Your podcast has saved me through the darkest point in life. Thank you. Thank you for being here. The world is better that you're here. Just so you know. Just so you know, if you haven't heard that yet. Jay agrees. Vapor Trails for $4.99. Everybody needs to keep physical copies of important books, movies, music, games, etc. You know, I keep telling my wife that. She's like, why are you buying so many movies? I'm all physical media. I just got steel books of all the Rocky movies up to 4.
Wow. Very cool.
That's right. And thanks, Jay, for your contribution, by the way. I should just show it off later. Event Horizon has come out in 4K, by the way. And I got the Steelbook Event Horizon. Kino reviews for $5. Chris, I haven't heard back regarding spell check for bias. I'll keep you if I get access to the tool. There you go. Garth Knight for $9.99. I do think Jimmy Kimmel is funny, but the gal who was sticking up for nonsense had no clue about the Godfather's movies and Lord of the Rings. Piers should have asked her favorite Star Wars movie. It's all good. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel's funny at all. Like, at all. I don't think he's a talented comedian. I think he's a very good corporate cocksucker. John Thomas for $5. Gary, my brother built a literal... But it's okay if we disagree, Garth. Gary, my brother... Gary. Shit, I can't even say my own name. That's a stroke right there. My brother built a literal walk-in vault for his neighbor so he could store his comic book collection. That is fucking badass. We can't have the... Well, I mean, I could, but that would cost so much fucking money. So much money. So much money. It's in a very safe storage facility that's climate controlled. Well, it's my collection's in 3 locations. 3 separate locations.
Oh,
we're going to try to
Harlan Ellison.
We're going to try to get it to 2. Well, my house and a storage facility and 2 storage facilities.
Wow.
Yeah. Daneska for €5. Mr. Gore, did you refuse to read my super chat asking Polka Dot Man what is a woman that wears nail polish?
Yes, I did. I thought it was a question that would have derailed the stream. I'm trying to have a polite conversation with David Desmalchin, who's in a movie called Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I'll make it up to you. I'll just read something else. But that had nothing to do with what we're talking about, this indie horror movie that he's in.
Oh,
I thought the
Late Night
question
with the
was
Devil.
rude.
Yeah.
And it was, Late Night with the Devil, which is a very good film. And I thought it would have derailed the conversation. And it's a rude question to ask. And I have the discretion of whether or not, just because you sent in a super chat doesn't mean I absolutely have to read it. And I've only ever done it once, and it was that question. So you have the distinction. It was, first of all, it's stupid. We've reviewed the movie, the Matt Walsh movie, which I happen to think is very good, but it had nothing to do with my conversation with David Desmulchin, who is a guy, and he's a guest on my show. I want him to feel comfortable. So I don't know how you feel about that, Gary, if you won't read certain things, but that was the one and only time. And yeah, I did it. So there you go. It had nothing to do with what we were talking about. Nothing. It was kind of rude. So, and that's not where I want the conversation to go. We're talking about a horror movie.
When you're inviting a guest, here's how I would approach it. If you're inviting a guest on to talk about a movie, and that's what he's prepared for, that's what you do. That's what you prepare him for. Now, if this is why I'm not going to bring a lot of guests, I'm not going to do stuff like that, because if I bring a guest on, they're going to get asked that question, and I'm going to have to prepare them for it. So just to not be a dick, I don't want to. But like,
you know what? It's a political thing. We're talking about independent film. We're talking about a movie coming from.
It's not part of the subject.
It's not part of the subject. And a lot of times they'll be like, our moderator, Ms. P Coffee, will like highlight things, and it's like, well, that's off topic. Like, but I love it. I love that she helps a lot. But I'll say,
actors are going to have to prepare themselves for like a different beast, which this is. It's just a different beast. And I don't know, like, what is that question for anyway? What's it referring to?
That had nothing to do with the topic. And yes, I didn't read it, but I'm happy to read any other thing. You don't even have to send in money. Put in another thing and I'll read it. But like, you got to be like, the reason I'm able to get guests on the show is because during that segment, we're being polite because they're a guest, and we'll talk about, I'm trying to educate my audience, and we're starting to do this more on our member stream. We just did a member stream with Jim Agnew talking about how to write a screenplay, how to get an agent, and it was just for members only, so we could have an intimate discussion. I want to help people make this new culture. And by that, I want people to come on the show. They may not agree with me politically. I don't care. I want to help and instruct people who watch us about indie film, because you can do it. You can do it. These people, Jim was like, we were at Sundance 20 years ago, and he's like, I've talked to a bunch of these filmmakers. They're no smarter than I am. I'm going to go write a screenplay. Guy's done a ton of movies and done stuff. I'm trying to build something and give tools to other people. And yeah, if you're rude, I'm not going to ask it. But that's the only time that has ever happened. Only time. And I'll ask uncomfortable stuff. I try to do it before or whatever. But like, he's just promoting a horror film. So yeah, I don't know what to say.
The only thing I asked was like, what's it in reference to? I don't even know what he's referring to.
Exactly.
Is it something? Okay, hang on. Is it something the actor said in the past? Is that it?
I don't know if he said it in the past. I mean, I know. Look, David is very liberal. He works in the industry, but that's not what he was on the show to talk about a horror film.
Yeah.
Daneska with another super chat with €2 said, Chris is right. I was trying to troll.
Yeah, don't troll my guests, because it's not, that type of, you can F with me all you want. I don't care. Like, F with me, it's fine. I'll be very honest with you, and I'll say exactly to you what I would say to your face if you were in front of me. That's my rule. If I'm on Twitter and someone's messing around with me, I'll tell them exactly. I try to be if you look at my stream, I'm pretty calm about conversations, even when people disagree with me. Try to be respectful or assume. But yeah, trolling, you're wasting my time and everyone else's. So there's my rant for the day. I'm just not tolerant of like stupid shit. Some stupid shit went down recently. I'm not down with it. Not down with it at all.
Yeah, and you don't have to be.
I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna ignore it and do my own thing. And that's it.
Yeah, that's all you can do. We all don't have to do the same things, right? That's why I don't do, I'm a shitty interviewer for one. So I've been offered a couple of actors to come on, and the honest answer might not sound great.
Yeah. honestly,
let me hang on. Let me finish.
Yeah.
People aren't that interested. Like, if you're a specific channel that is like, we are about film and independent film, it works for Chris. Doesn't work over here. Like, it would be, I'm not going to sit there and interview somebody for a half an hour over a movie that we may or may not watch. And the movies we get offered, like, are small independent films. I maybe consider doing it on Nerdrotic Live if we could have a free form conversation. I think that I'm way more interested in that. But not here.
Well, I'll just say this. In my opinion, actors are the least interesting part of the process.
Yes.
To me, I've never enjoyed interviewing actors. I did it at G4 because that's what they paid me to do. So I went to junkets. I'd always try to give like an honest, or at least something that's a more interesting question. And I've gotten in some good discussions with actors. There are actors out there that know their stuff. David is a legit nerd. He's got racks and comics, and he has this whole comic room like you, Gary, just different stuff. He is legit nerd. He's written comics. He's done a lot of indie films. We mostly 95+% of our interviews are with directors and writers. And then occasionally we get an actor who's interesting like David. But it's my job as the host of the show, inviting people on, to be respectful. And that question was disrespectful. It was a troll. And it's not unlike what the mainstream media does to actors anyways, because they set traps for them so that they end up saying stupid shit or spout opinions or box themselves in the corners. It's no better or worse than that. So to me, it's just as bad to like what the mainstream media does as that question. Not that guy. Like, I don't even like talking about shit like that but I did because Matt Walsh made that movie, and we were one of the very small number of outlets that actually reviewed the film, both on the website. Dante did the written review. We did a group review, me, Alan, and Dante, and talked about that film and broke it down. We all watch it. Like it's not in our wheels, but if someone makes a movie about it, we'll discuss it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
if you again,
whatever.
Like we don't want to be like the access media. So if never want to say never, but if we're going to bring somebody, even like a Gina Carano on or something like that, we'll have I don't do a lot of prep, but we have a brief conversation like, hey, is everything on the table? Because everything's kind of on the table here. And 99% of the time people say yes. People ask me that too. When I go guest on the live streams, they ask me, hey, is there some stuff that you don't want me to bring up? Like, they're being sensitive about the addiction in prison. I'm like, no, bring it all up. Bring it all up.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, that's
totally
fair.
fine. Open book. But I mean, it's being fair to people, because that's authentic, right? That's you don't want to ambush somebody because you want to have a real conversation, and the debate could still get lively like crazy, but that's okay because we talked about it beforehand. So briefly, it's not like we get into every detail, and it's not like I submit questions because I don't write them down. I just think them up on the fly.
No, I just say off the top of my head. I never prep because I usually just know. I know it so well. Like what I used to prep. Like, what's the point? It's whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I got.
It's all good.
There's a lot of things
Passionate
I'm just
guy.
not willing to. There's a lot of things I'm not willing to tolerate any longer. I'm just not.
Too old for this shit.
I don't give a shit. I got other shit to do. I'm like, done. I'm not doing that.
I drink, therefore I am, has gifted 10 Nerdrotic memberships.
Yeah. I have an announcement.
What's it?
The Film Threat Hollywood on the Rock stream starts in 12 minutes. It's going to be late. But I wanted to get a couple things like our RSVP list for the Vegas meetup. I put the link in the description if you want to share it. There it is, but put the link in the description.
It's in the description on the stream, and I will put it in the chat as well.
So that's at the Millennium Fandom Bar Tuesday before our meetups. There's a Film Threat.
We're giving away Blu-rays. We're giving away a bunch of Film Threat stuff, and I specifically named it Official Film Threat CinemaCon VIP Vegas Meetup for A-listers only. As I'm being ironic. I'm being sort of a little sarcastic. I'm trolling.
So
anyways, whatever.
No, that's awesome. So the link is there. It is up.
I'm
and
so excited.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
I gotta eat, Gary. I gotta eat.
Go, brother. You gotta go.
No, I don't give a shit.
Oh, no. Oh, just
I
eat.
gotta talk to you.
Just eat.
Film threat's
Well,
gonna be late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, go ahead and eat. I don't care.
No, I gotta talk to you.
Also, I know you got to talk to me. We could talk after your stream, but like we can also talk right after this.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Once now.
So, and real quick, our meetup, all of our meetups, every single one of Nerdrotics, Geeks and Gamers, whatever meetups we do together by ourselves are free. And they are for our fellow members of the audience. That's what they're for. That is the priority.
Mhm.
The priority is it is a thank you to, and it's the least we can do for people who have supported us for years, for months, paying their hard-earned money, spending their time with us, having a good time, and making these channels what they are. They are nothing without you guys. That is our priority. These are not creator hobnob rubbing elbow sessions. That's not what they are. I think it's a great idea to do that. I think some creators should go do it. You can even do it while we're in Vegas, but that's not what these things are. And that's not what they ever will be. They are for our fellow members of the audience so we could just nerd out on shit. And we could throw you a party, buy you a round of drinks, buy you some tacos. It's the fucking least we can do. But it's not about other creators. Just not. No, for $10, DEI is terrible. However, I would like to ask you all if there are any movies y'all thought that doesn't have a main cast as white. Mine would be The Harder They Fall, Let's Go Brandon Herrera. Hell yeah. As somebody who doesn't like biopics, I fucking love Straight Outta Compton. I fucking love that movie.
That was a good movie.
I fucking love that movie. I love that movie. War Van Eagle for TV for $4.99. The only white lines the Scorpions are doing these days are Goody's pain reliever, while always link winds of change with the falling of the wall. Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, that was the kind of the soundtrack of the 80s. They were never like my all-time favorite band, but they were always fucking on. I always knew somebody who fucking loved them, and they were kind of the soundtrack of our lives back in the 80s when we were doing lots of fucking drums. Plus, Melissa seems to remember, and I seem to remember a time we were tripping balls on acid and listening to nothing but the Scorpions. It was a good night. Dineska for £2 Sorry, Chris. I'll be a good boy in the future. It's all good. It's all good.
It's look, it's just, you have to understand my position. I want to give you the ability to talk to people in the industry, because anyone can be in this industry, but you decide the terms of how you want to be in this industry. That's why I think indie is the better choice. You can try to go corporate all you want. Good luck. But indie, there's no one stopping you but you. David also does indie films as well as appear in films like Dune and The Dark Knight. And I mean,
well, how is The Night with the Devil? Because that looks Late Night with the Devil. It looks kind of good.
Really cool. It's about this late night show host, sort of based on like a Dick Cavett kind of guy from the 70s. And there's this little intro kind of documentary about him and his wife and tragedy that befell him. And then you see a complete, it's almost like a thing where you see this one episode of the show that happened on Halloween, where he brought in like an exorcist and all these sort of weird, be great to have him on for Halloween. And then stuff happens during the show that is shocking. And they just like, it's never before been seen. There's like this whole, like, we dug up the footage and then they show like things that happen off camera. It's really good. And he plays like kind of a Dick Cavett type. It's all set in the era. It's really good horror film. It's coming to theaters in a couple of weeks, so I plan to see it again.
Yeah, I like the trailer. I like the trailer for that. Jake,
and David's a good guy. So
former homeless guy, right?
Yeah, homeless and drug addict.
Yeah.
Cleaned up, was in The Dark Knight, and then did little indie movies. Just is a good guy.
Jake the Steak for $10. My fiance finally watched Lord of the Rings with me. So is the wedding still on? That's my first question. She had never seen it before. I've never seen her so captivated. She loved it so much, and I felt like I was enjoying it for the first time again. So the wedding is going on. Congratulations. Don't forget about Super Grifter Brianna Wu. Yeah, Game Genie for $2. Who can forget super grifter Brianna Wu, and Anita Sarkeesian. All roads lead back to the lonely woman who had to marry herself for her birthday. Yes, I put that on Twitter. But we're finding out that a lot of defendants out there of Kotaku or who are currently working for Kotaku have worked with her in the past. Yellow Flash has a couple of tweets about it. RX Firm for $1.99. Gary, get my email about Vegas meetup. Mrs. Nerdrotic did. Who was she and X-Ray Girl are coordinating the meetup. Meetup sold out, like completely. And when we say sold out, that means all the RSVPs are filled up.
The Film Threat meetup is not sold out yet. And it's also, I want to point out, it's free for the Film Threat meetup. Also, we only charge for people who troll. That's like,
oh my God.
Oh,
That's
people
all
will
it's-
pay money. People will like, here's my $10, motherfucker. Here I come. Legion of Memers.
love the Legion of Memers.
Steven Jordan for $4.99. I can remember as a teen going to the music shop in the mall on the weekend for hours. Now malls are dead. Music was an outlet then. Now music sucks. Yes.
Yep.
It's hard to find good new music.
Sven Dragon for $5. Boeing employee, whistleblower Bennett, found dead just prior to a meeting about Boeing knowingly fitting bad parts on planes. This is true. And there would be a time where people would believe that, by the way, he self-deleted. There would be a time where people would believe, it's just a coincidence. The guy must have been on hard times. We are now in a time where, no, fuck no.
Looking a little sus.
It's because it's sus. If it looks sus, it's fucking suspect. I love how X-Ray looks confused when Gary and Chris talk 70s, 80s, and 90s cinema. By the way, R.I.P. Eric Carmen, beautiful voice and lyrics. Says Garth
Very
Knight
true.
For $4.99.
All the time.
R.I.P. Garth Knight for $4.99. I wonder where Chris Gore's vote was when he and R&B were sticking up for The Last Jedi. Are these two latchers on to the movement? No.
No, by the way, I, at the time, hated Force Awakens. I thought The Last Jedi was at least interesting because I thought it was a setup to a rise of Luke Skywalker, and it didn't happen. And the sequel trilogy is worthless. The 9th film is the worst film in the series, but the problem started with Force Awakens, and Last Jedi, I actually think is unfortunately the best of all those films, which are shit.
They're all shit.
That's my tweet version of what I would say.
There you go.
Another person trying to.
I think a
troll
lot of
out there.
people went on a journey. A lot of people liked Force Awakens. And
hated
hell, Mad Max Fury Road. I liked it when it came out. I did.
Yeah.
That was cool action and stuff like that. Little did I know that kind of through line would fucking destroy Hollywood and straight up his girl boss feminism shit.
Right.
And I remember people getting called out a lot for saying it's feminist propaganda. And at the time, I didn't think it was. So I watched the video breaking all the symbolism down. I'm like, oh shit. It was.
I think the thing that sucked me in was the fact that all the women were super hot. And I was just like,
well, yeah, I mean,
hot women like getting naked and cleaning
that'll
themselves
blind you.
off.
And that blinds people a lot. And there's nothing wrong with being blinded by hot women.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, the films of Russ Meyer always blinded me.
But I think I could be wrong. Furiosa is probably going to be some pretty massive feminist propaganda. I think if we had to lean towards a direction, that would be the direction I lean.
Right.
Could be wrong. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Blue Eyes, I mean, what would you rather have? Old man Mel Gibson running, or Tom Hardy, just a movie with Tom Hardy in the whole thing as Mad Max, or Anya Taylor-Joy as in a Furiosa prequel.
I don't know. She's pretty hot. I kind of like her.
Would you rather have that than Mel Gibson, old man fucking Mad Max running around? No.
Can I have both? I don't know.
No. Just put Anya Taylor-Joy in that movie.
It's weird how they're using it it's a Mad Max saga movie.
She's hot, but she doesn't look hot in the movie. I
think she looks pretty hot. She's a dirty girl, like girls who catch catfish and work on homes. I was comparing her to a tomboy. Don't get. It's not. I'm not
those are not even close. The girl catching catfish. She's hot.
Yeah, she's hot.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like her.
Not that lady who looks like she got hit in the face with a fucking pan. And her lips. Well, you know what? She didn't like her because she looks like the catfish that what's her name was catching.
Oh,
That's probably why she had a problem with it.
In 1 minute, Gary. My show starts in 1
Blue Eyed
minute.
Scorpio, $4.99. Hey, favorite Gary. Hey, Blue Eyed Scorpio. Game Genie for $2. Oh shit. Hang on.
Wait, I wonder if I can be.
Jillian Michaels' own mayor too.
Dude, we can talk.
Oh, no, I saw that Jillian Michaels thing. She schooled him about all the stuff happening in California. She admitted her house was broken into. Bill Maher is so out of touch. Someone around him needs to
Bill Maher
let him know.
Doesn't go to fucking Target. Bill Maher doesn't go to Walmart. He doesn't go to the grocery store to buy his own fucking groceries. He doesn't walk around the streets. He doesn't drive himself anywhere. He doesn't know shit. And it's only elites who listen to this guy. And the only time he gets any fucking traction is when he kind of says something that kind of makes sense and it goes around on fucking Twitter.
Right, but he is way out of. I think. I don't know, man. I used to be a fan,
20th century model. It's an old fucking model. Some talk show on fucking HBO. Which
no one
same
cares.
place that broadcast John Oliver. Fucking get your ass back to the UK. Dumb motherfucker. Jason J for $2. Don Lemon just fired from X podcast by Elon. Really?
What?
He didn't
Apparently, yeah. There's a.
Is it
couple
trending?
tweets about it.
All right.
See,
that didn't last long.
Technically, my show starts now.
Okay.
But,
well, we got a few soups to go to your show, and we'll talk after your show.
Oh, dude, but I want to talk to you. I'm excited to talk.
I know what we're talking about, but you got a show to do. I got a show to finish, and I'll be here. I'm not working on a video. Well, maybe.
Yeah, you are.
I'm prepping for my next video is going to be the American Society of Magical Negroes. So review. So that's I know it's only been a couple people talked. It's like it's only been a week, and I usually do one a week. So that'll be the next vid. That'll be the next vid, and then but there's I think there's dailies coming out on Nerdrotic Daily, so you can look out for stuff there. But I'll call you as soon as you're done with your live stream. Okay, you got to get to your show.
But I like hanging out.
Okay, I do too.
Do you want to just stay here?
Can I be on both shows? I told my team, I said,
think you can.
Wait for me. So, all right, well, look, you've got like a bunch of soup. Okay.
We got a bunch left.
You got a bunch left.
Yeah.
All right, then I'm going to go because I got to prep for my show. But I'll say, come by. Alan is going to tell us about, he saw Monkey Man and Fall Guy and a bunch of movies that were playing at Austin and South by Southwest.
Can we rate it? X-Ray Girl?
We'll rate it. I already put it in.
We'll
raid you.
We'll raid you.
Yeah, raid me when you're done. But then I'm going to talk a
raid
little bit more,
me.
about Three Body Problem, which I'm very excited to talk about. I'll give my sort of early reaction. And I think we got an interview with a filmmaker, so feel free to troll because I
ask him what a woman is.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. I like the movie.
Chris,
I like
I
the
love
documentary. I like the documentary, man. I love the
It's a great documentary.
It's a really good doc. But I got to run, but we'll talk like later.
We will talk later. Love you. Chris
Okay.
Gore.
Chris.
Great Gore.
Love you guys.
Meet up. Vegas, Tuesday.
Take care.
3 days of meetups. 3 days of
Goodbye.
meetups. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Adios. Sayonara. Sayonara. Chris Gore.
People.
Wait.
Bye, my white friend.
Sayonara. Drawing Tall for $5 says, my friends and I used to chant John Cena sucks, but now it's John Cena cucks. The man is pushing 50 and doing frat prank jokes for Hollywood likes. Yeah, he is the token toxic male to clown in Hollywood. They would never do that with a woman. By the way, I don't care that he did it, but let's see that with Sydney Sweeney next year. Watch your ratings pop. Yeah. Watch your ratings chub. They won't do it.
Yeah.
Zian Who for $7.42. New channel idea. Chris and Dante in Nerds in a Car.
Oh, that's cute.
That is actually a good idea. Fing Book for $3. Congrats on Piers Morgan. You want that Millie bad. Millie.
Million subs.
Million. Oh, I mean, yeah, I'd want it, but if I wanted it bad, you would already had 2 videos in the last week. To be honest with you. But there was nothing I like felt like that was video worthy. There's a lot of like subjects, but for me to pull the editors and do all the crazy stuff when I had one planned, which it's nice that like it's rare to have one planned. Usually I have no fucking idea what I'm going to do a couple days before I do it. But when the reviews are out there, because I've got the American Society of Magical Negroes, we're going to do X-Men 97 review for the first 2 episodes. And I'll probably do Ghostbusters. You got that, but then there's the topical stuff. I would say the only thing that came close is Bo DeMayo getting fired, but I can just talk about that. The X-Men 97 one when it comes out in 2 weeks. Vapor trails for $1.99. People must sue for discrimination. They have to. Lawsuits do have to start happening, and then it would put a stop to this. But now, like, not saying they weren't compromised before. It's just more obvious that judges are compromised. What's your thoughts on Nev Campbell returning to Scream 7? 0. Nick H. Eggs for £5 British. Isn't it because 2 of the actors had to leave because of their stance? Or no, one actor was fired over her stance on the conflict across the pond. That's not Ukraine. And then another actor left in solidarity. So they had to bring her back and pay her what they wouldn't pay her. I don't think Nev Campbell moves the needle for anything. The last thing I saw her in was Twisted Metal, and she was fine in it. She was fine. Gabby Spin for $13 for $2. Guys, I love you. You bring me so much happiness. Oh, I'm glad.
Aww.
Cheers. Thank you. You bring us happiness too. Graham Paldican for $5. Remember they tried to cancel Sydney Sweeney last August for her mom's MAGA-themed birthday party. That was her. Oh, now I remember that now.
Wow.
There's no way she's based. If she's based, so many people are going to just fall instantly in love.
Got hotter.
Yeah. Yeah, she just went up a few points. Sad, the same Glenn Powell is Hal Jordan or Jay Storm. Said the same. Glenn Powell would be a great Hal Jordan. He would. Fink Book for $3. When Gary hits $1 million, everyone tip him. Like cow tipping. Like knock me over. Yeah. Fink Book for $2. Gary will hit $1 million by Friday? No, not by Friday. No. What drives subscribers is videos, not live streams. And I've done a lot of live streams lately. So it would have to be a video or 2 to get there. Bruce Leroy James. So, I mean, like...
I already read this. You already read this.
I read that one. Like, realistically, like, by Vegas, for sure. And it just depends on how much I produce. And how much you guys like. I think that's ultimately, that's what decides. Okay? AJX Skyline for $4.99. Sydney Sweeney for Felicia Black Cat. Oh, Felicia Harding Black Cat. Spider-Man 4 Holland or The Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Garfield. I would say Spider-Man 4 with Toby. Eric K for $2. Fuck cancer. I agree. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Prayers to Olivia Munn. Also prayers to Olivia Munn's boobs too. Hopefully they survive the cancer diagnosis. Well, we want her to survive. And she's
had a few surgeries already, so.
Garth Knight for $4.99. Gary, please recognize the death of Eric Carmen. How many hairdressers are in mourning, including your betrothed? Eric Carmen, hang on.
I don't know who that is.
I'll know when I see it. Oh, the Raspberries front man who sang "All by Myself."
Oh, I do know that.
Yes,
song.
hairdressers are mourning.
Yeah.
That is a head of hair. Rest in peace, Eric Carmen. Rest in peace. Ask about Orange County, Florida. There's a reason service industry workers in Orlando call the company the Rat. Says the engaged few for $5. The engaged few for $5. Not respecting the source material? Do you mean Elric of Melniboné? Yes. Well, nobody's had a point to not respect Elric. Oh, you mean with The Witcher? With The Witcher, yes. I get it. Yes. A lot of things have borrowed from Elric, including The Witcher. Garth Knight for $4.99. Listen, I want to know who was responsible for Swayze's hair in Roadhouse. To this day, it's a Hollywood secret. That's a good question. Jason XI for $5. I know there's an answer out there too. You probably just have to Google it. How do you gatekeep people who started it? Well, you can't. That's the whole point. Is we can't gatekeep people. You can't unless you own the business, you know. And then if you own the business and you're legit, how you gatekeep people is you hire people of talent.
POTs.
But they can't just be people of talent. They also have to have a good work ethic. They also have to be not a backstabbing POS. Ultimately, though, you don't find out sometimes until you've been working with them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Rude Dude Reviews for $2. Thank you to the fellowship. You guys rock the web. You rock. Mr. E. Enigma for $5. I can't imagine being a parent and spending a fortune on their college education just for them to end up woke weirdo. What? I know, right? Well, yeah. No, and just so you can fucking brag. A lot of it's bragging. My kid went to Harvard. My kid went to UCLA. My kid went to Stanford. Whatever. Your kid's a woke idiot. Well done. My sign is cancer for $4.99. FNT news show pitch idea. X-Men 98, the FNT crew and guests will talk over X-Men 97 clips in the style of "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch." That would be good. Lance Snyder for $5. I am bracing for the Amazon fuck up Warhammer 40K, and then I am not ready for the back, and they are not ready for the backlash. We will know long before when Cavill walks. Oh yeah, the fans always know first. Mr. E. Enigma for $5. Do you think Elon Musk will have any kind of impact on Gamergate 2? Already has by signal boosting it. Super Mastermind for $5. Leo Major Gary. Look him up. He saved cities alone, defeated the armies alone. History can be exciting. He had one eye and a bad back. I will check it out. Leo Major Gary. I am creating my own stories and taking part in the counterculture in Hollywood and mainstream fiction as a whole. Thank you all for everything. Gemini for $4.99. Go get him. Go get him. Jediah Ben for $1.99. Yes, G.I. Joe is good, and they're building characters. Okay, I'll have to check it out. Check out the Omnibus from 3D Joe's 2. Well, I have the comics. They were never like my favorite, but they're fine. Japanese Demon Lord, Abir Lucifer for $5. The first trailer for the Crow remake comes out tomorrow. Hollywood's suffering is deserved and enjoyable to watch. We'll end it with the teaser. We have the teaser, but I got to get through a few more here. I cannot pronounce this name because it's written in a different language, but it's 17 shekels. What's your favorite James Bond movie? For me, it's Skyfall. My favorite James Bond movie does not have my favorite James Bond in it.
Oh?
But it's one I grew up with and I fucking love. I love Live and Let Die. That's my favorite one. People are probably cringing out there. That's my favorite one. I love Daniel Craig's Casino Royale. I think that's in the top 3. Thunderball, of course. It's fucking brilliant. Thunderball. And GoldenEye.
That's the one that sticks out for me. That was my
GoldenEye.
first one.
Yeah. Spy Who Loved Me is really fucking good too. Yeah. I grew up in the Moore era. So my dad would take me, it was like every 2 years one came out, and fond memories. Love the fucking Moore era. Live and Let Die was, I love the theme song, and yeah, it's just everything about it I fucking loved as a kid. So. But man, Daniel Craig's Casino Royale is a fucking great movie. It's everything that came after it. You know, it was pretty so-so. Skyfall was good. I like Skyfall. I do. The last one, No Time to Die, fucking shit. Chris is a total wank. Chris is not a wank for $4.99. But Late Night with the Devil seems awesome. It does seem awesome. It does seem awesome. I do like the trailer, Late Night. It's a very 70s trailer. I like the voiceover in it. I can't eat. Hemorrhoid Hurts for $2.99. Star Trek The Motion Picture was way better than Netflix The Signal. I agree. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. The Man with the Bag sounds good. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Santa who loses his bag and turns to a naughty list thief, Alan Richson, to get it back. So that's a movie. Is it coming out? Like hopefully Christmas? Sounds like a Christmas movie. Read the 3 Body books, Chris. I've heard they're good, actually. Albert Not a Retro for 2 Canadian pesos. I take Hardy or Gibson. I'm no simp. Yeah, I want a Mad Max movie with Mad Max in it. And I wouldn't mind a Tom Hardy one. That wouldn't bother me. But I'd prefer an old man. And you know what? You could put Hardy in it too. So Hardy is the kid from Road Warrior. And then you have old man Mad Max with Tom Hardy. That would be fucking awesome. Albert Not a Retro for 5 Canadian pesos. Sydney Sweetie, Streaks, and the Pink Hats Will Freak. You're right. TKA198 for $5. The Omen prequel looks like it'll be a human mom. Will it be a fake out, or will it actually retcon a massive part of the greatest horror film? Well, I don't think I'm going to even fucking give it a chance. Grim Knack for $5. Can we just give another shout out to how much of a Chad gentleman Mahler is? Absolutely. Hang on. He truly is a treasure. Sydney Sweeney played hit and run as a kid. Taker 610 for $5. Gary, you missed the perfect opportunity to roast Chris when he said that his hair is done by a straight guy. He should have quipped, and it shows. That's good.
Wow.
That's good. Discordian?
Yeah.
For $10. Rest in peace, Olivia Munns. She's not dead. Olivia's Munns. Okay, gotcha. Oh, shit. F cancer. Rest in peace, Olivia's Munns. Andrew Matthews for £2 X-Ray is a pot person of tartars.
I don't know what that means.
A POO, a person of talent, person of tartars. Never mind. Anakin Sims for $5. The chat's about to tell you. Hey, Gary, what Tolkien books do I avoid to stay away from his dumb cuck grandson? Also, do you think we will get Ash vs. Evil Dead again? Hell, they were talking about an animated series, which I would love. And there was talks of a video game, right, chat? Wasn't there a video game? I can't remember. I don't think so. And Simon Tolkien doesn't have anything to do with the Tolkien books that come out unless there's some new one. If you see Simon Tolkien on it, don't fucking bother. The apple fell very, very, very far away from the tree on that one. He writes his own books, but they're nothing to do with his grandfather. Nev Campbell is back for Scream 7. Such a shame she agreed to come back. This is Alejandro Angel for $249. Mexican dollars. Yeah, I mean, like, she sold out. She took the money. Especially over the controversy with the movie, right? Tits and Entrails for $9.99. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Reacher season 1 was mid. I disagree. Terminalist was far better. Terminalist is fucking awesome. Just curious what you make of Rippa's live action trailer. Yaira, first Kentaro, now Toriyama. R.I.P. I thought the trailer was fine. It as with all independent, self-funded, independent, non-corporate, never been part of a corporation, not some former indie creator who's tried to come into the independent space, a true independent person. You're starting from the ground up, right? So that's why you don't see me roasting independent content for the most part, because it's people starting out. And no, it's not going to be perfect. Yeah, the trailer was... I'd have done some stuff differently. But I will also point out that Yaira made $1 million in 24 hours.
Quicker than I saw.
And at least he fucking tried a live action trailer. And you know what? A lot of people liked it. A lot of people were understanding that, oh, this isn't a Hollywood production and we're not going to compare it to fucking Disney or fucking Warner Brothers. This is a guy who funded a trailer. You know, it's the same thing like judging a drinker harshly on his first 20-minute or the trailer for his first production. Even though there are, like, he's put a bunch of money up and has Hollywood people involved, but does anybody expect like 24? No. And it wouldn't be fair to, because it's the first time out. It's the first time out. You know, not everybody's going to be Nolan. You know, well, it wasn't his first movie technically, but his first big movie. Knocked it out of the park. Memento. You know, not everybody's going to be like that. You got to work your way up. And Eric is building something, and he's starting out way ahead of 99% of the independent sphere. And as I said, I've looked through a lot of independent books through my time as a collector, owning a store, the new independent sphere, and most of it is shit. But it's okay. You build up from that. And just completing the project is a victory. But if we're going to hold the same standards to independent creators than we are to people who have all the fucking resources in the world, that's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. And I won't even entertain that. Garth Knight for $1.99. Gary, I love Roger Moore. Don't be ashamed. I'm not ashamed. But like, Connery's a better Bond. I mean, I think that's an objective truth. Moore is the fucking man, though. Moore is the man. And Daneska for 10 British pounds. Gary, when will you leave us? Your fans, when you leave us, your fans will mourn you like people are mourning Akira. I don't want to fuck up his last name. Toriyama all around the world right now. I don't know about that. That guy made a lot of people happy. Like him. In a sense, you became our brother. Am I lying, chat? Dude, that guy's a legend. That guy created something that made generations of people happy. Thank you, but I'm not even in the same ballpark. That guy's a legend. And I know, like, the fact that I know what it is, if I never read it, you know, my kid loved it. My kid was sad when he found out. My kid was very sad. And Perry made a beautiful tribute. Go check it out on Nerdrotic Daily, or you can watch the intro to last week's Friday Night Tights. Ace Degenerate for 50 Czechoslovakian pesos. Rest in peace, Eric Carmen, the legend. His music will live on. All by himself. Rest in peace, sir. And that's the end of this show.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the generous super chats. Lots of questions this week. And we'll be back next week with the nooner. Go raid Chris. Yes. They're gonna talk about 3-body problem, and then I'll be talking to him after about whatever project we're supposed to be talking about. I will be pondering. I watched The Gentleman and I fucking loved it. So if you want to watch a good show and you're a fan of, it makes me want to go back to the UK, X-Ray Girl, like immediately.
I mean, I was talking to Mr. Porkchop, and he's like, "We're gonna be doing a possible little potato meetup." I'm like, "I want to go."
I know,
see.
right?
We'll see.
Well, I think we're going to go back.
I know we'll go back. It's
We're
just a
gonna go
matter of when.
It's a matter of when. Could be sooner than later, but I had a really good time out there. But yeah, great show. Give it a watch. Thumbs up on the gentleman. What do you got coming up, X-Ray Girl?
Poor Choices tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern with Tugs. We're going to be talking about the girl Hannah Barron with controversy with Shamir, I believe her name is, and talk about how that is a really bad take, in my opinion.
Fucking terrible take. I thought, like, is she just trying to get attention? It's like, oh, no, she really believes that.
I think she really believes that makeup does not make a girl feminine.
No.
It should accent your femininity, but not be your, like, as people say, you know, your race, your gender is not your identity. Same thing with makeup. So there you go.
Horrible take. All right. Yeah, Friday Night Tights. We got Clifton Duncan. It's gonna be fun. And he's got a is it a GoFundMe? I think it's Indiegogo.
Over.
Is it over? So he's doing a one-man show about Thomas Sowell, and he raised over $100,000. So congratulations to him. Yaira is still available at the Rippaverse. It has hit $1.1 million in a couple of days. That's fucking brilliant.
Insane.
Written by the Soska sisters, and it's doing great. That's 4 books that hit $1 million for a guy who just started out. Like, that's incredible.
And Film Threat RSVP for Vegas is in the description. So if you're planning on going, make sure you RSVP as fire codes and number of people and whatnot. So another opportunity to come hang out with people.
That's good. Hang out with people. Encourage independent creators. Don't discourage them. Discourage fucking woke Hollywood all you want. Don't really care. They're big boys with all the fucking money and all the fucking resources. And we will call them out, and Disney could burn. That's where we'll leave it. Hopefully we'll see how this proxy battle goes down, and we'll see you Friday night. Thank you to the Modrotics. Thanks to every single person who left a super chat and donation. You help keep the lights on. Thanks to all the lurkers out there. We know you're the majority. And thanks to everyone who participated in the chat. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.